Please, Mohamed. Hello. Okay.
Oui.
So we have the chance today to receive Michel Verbauhede. I say it well, I hope.
Yeah.
Who will give us a precious input about space and climate. Okay? So thank you for welcoming him, and thank you for coming, Michel. I give you the microphone.
Okay, thank you. So Nathalie asked me to make you a presentation about the connection between space and global change or climate change. I can skip to French at any time if you have questions in French. That's not a problem. So, no, it doesn't work anymore already? No, it's okay. So you may think that space and mankind is a long story. In fact, it's not so much. It comes back to 57. We have celebrated last year the 50 years of space cooperation in Europe. But what the point I want to make to you is the following one, is you may think that all this is granted. It seems you natural to enjoy satellite navigation, to enjoy a meteorosat picture during the briefing or the TV news. But it's in fact the result of 15 to 20 years of investment. So whatever we do not invest today will be a gap in capacities in 15 years from now. So it seems that you make a saving today, but you are in fact not saving anything. You are jeopardizing a future. So in ESA, this is maybe difficult with the resolution to see, but we started in the year 70s with the development of the first meteosat capacity in Europe. And from there, later, we started to make satellite to monitor the environment. And it was things like ocean color, like ozone, this sort of thing. You must translate. Okay, I'll try to go slower. And afterwards, we had big satellites, satellites of 10 tons. Just to give you an idea, it's the size of a bus, but that's not the point I want to make. Because it was the last time we did such a big satellite, because if there is a launch failure, you are losing everything. So from there on, we went into two categories of satellites. We have here the so-called Earth Explorer, and these are satellites to define the technology, to prove a technology. And then you have a series of meteorosat satellites and so-called Sentinel Copernicus satellites to do the environment. And these are proven technology. These are, if you want, operational satellite. It's not for research, it's really for monitoring. Oh. So why do we do this? When the astronauts went to the moon, this is a picture which is very famous, they said, oh, blue and nice, but fragile, sorry, not the moon, the Earth looked as from the moon. And it's true that it's a beautiful planet. We can see with satellite, we have things like algae bloom. So these are algae in the ocean. We can see, of course, deserts. We can see lots of nice things. So it's really an arty pictures, the Earth. But it's not anymore, because nowadays we are in what we call the Anthropocene. So it's a geological era where the main factor is the man. So the man is really impacting the Earth so much that it's sort of changing all the surface. So you see here an example of extensive agriculture in North America, deforestation in the Amazon, or urbanization. So this is the city of Valencia in Spain. It used to be big like this, like 1 century ago. You see how big it is. So if you extrapolate, you see what sort of impact it does have on agriculture grounds. So all of this is very nice, but why are we doing this? So why to invest in Earth observation? And in fact, is to address the challenges of the 21st century. And which are these? You have them here as picture. This is the augmentation of CO2 in the atmosphere. This is the increase of temperature. It's the fact that we used to have lots of forests. Forests are shrinking, more and more pasture to have more cows and more meat. It's the fact that there is an augmentation of the rate at which the species are disappearing. And nitrogen is a marker of pollution, if you want. And all of this is linked very simply to population, which is, if you go in this graph, very much increased a lot. So this is a French, well, not a French, a Belgian newspaper in French, but I'm sure you all have seen that in your countries too. We got this sort of news. This one was edited in early 2014. And the year 2030 was again one of the warmest ever recorded in history. So Met records go back in the years 1880. And since that, we have very good records. And from there on, we can see that two things. First, the first 10 years of this centuries have been within the 15 warmest years ever, since we have a record. And secondly, that this year, 2013, was 0.6 degrees above the average of the 20th century. So you would say 0.6 degrees, it's perfect, maybe for some of you. I can go more to the beach, I can do barbecue, fantastic. But you must remember one thing, is that in the glacial age, the spread of temperature between the lowest temperature during glacial age and the warmest between interglacial age like today is something in the range of 4 to 7 degrees. But it happened in 100,000 years. And here we are facing an increase of 2 to 4 to 6 degrees in less than 1 century. So it's not a question that the Earth cannot absorb that. It's a question whether we can absorb that and whether we can mitigate the implication of this augmentation. So what happened? This is a record from the Hawaii Island. So it's not from space, it's from land. And they discovered, and it goes back in the years 80s, that the CO2 in the atmosphere has been ever increasing. So it's a sort of a cycle, and the cycle is due to the fact that during winter in the northern hemisphere, the vegetation is collapsing, so there is a release of CO2, but during summer, the vegetation is growing, so absorbing the CO2. And you see this constant evolution, which is again growth-based. And now you see in this blue line, this is the observation by satellite. We do much very well observation from the ground. Very unfortunately, so you see 94, 260 ppm proportion of CO2. And 2006, we were in winter 2080. Very unfortunately, although we speak about this problematic for years, we are now at 395 ppm, so it's a global average during the winter of 2013. So how can you relate this to something else? So I know there is a lot of doubts about the theory about global change. So scientists have tried to make a link between this augmentation of CO2 and temperature. And this is the only plausible explanation how to explain the augmentation of temperature. So this is a complex graph, but the very basic idea is the following. What did the scientists did? They compared to years 2000. They say we can have several scenarios in front of us. Either we do nothing, and you see this is the consumption of oil, of gas, of coal, whatever you want, so releasing gigatons of CO2 in the atmosphere. Either we do nothing and we continue the curve, and we go somewhere, we'll see what this somewhere means. Or we take very drastic measure, we curb down the CO2 emission, and we are in this sort of spread, green spread. This is scenario number one, a scenario which is very aggressive. We should stop using cars, basically, or things like that. Probably not feasible, or at least using cars which burn oil. And then you have scenarios which are more, let's say, less demanding. And when you translate that into where it brings us, you will see that the scenario which is the most optimistic, in the sense we do need to make effort, would bring us in this green square, meaning we would end up in the atmosphere between 400 and 500 ppm. Remember, we are today at 395. And that would translate into an increase of between 1.5 and 4 degrees at the Earth's surface on average. If you go in a worse scenario, we are here. So it brings you between 4 and 7 degrees. Remember, 7 degrees is a lot. It's the difference between glacial age and interglacial age in less than 1 century. So global change and climate change are linked. Climate is climate only. Global change is a fact. We also look at pollution, things like that. So this is just to inform you. I guess you will get a copy of this slide later on, so I'm not going to go into this. But among others, the scientists also foresee a weakening of the Gulf Stream, which is for Europe a catastrophe. So it's very funny because it's global change, but at the same time, some region will be colder. It's augmentation of precipitation, but not over the place. The wet region will be even wetter, and the arid area will be drier. And it's a much greater unpredictability of seasonal climate. It's like when you are cooking pasta, you put a lot of vapor in your machinery. There is more energy in machinery, and you don't know where the system will bring you. So you get more storm, you get a very wet summer, a very dry winter, followed by a very cool spring, all these sort of things. So there is no climate anymore, if you want. It's unpredictable. So all that is very sad. So what can we do? So achievement today, this is a Meteosat satellite picture. So we have better observation than in the past. We have better models, we have better computers. And just to show you what it means in practice, this is a graph that shows you in the year 80s in Europe, what we were able in terms of forecast of the weather, not climate, of the weather, 3 days in advance. So you had an accuracy of 85%, which means that you are more or less right. Today, at 3 days in advance, with the new models, with the new kind of capacity we have, you are right at 95%. If you take forecast at 5 days in advance, shall it be nice weather in 5 days? In the year 80s, 60%, so it was really gambling, you know, one chance yes, one chance no. And today, we are near to 80%. So this is to tell you that with the new capacity, you can indeed predict better the future, but here we call about a future which is in 10 days, but the same rationale is valid for other satellites. So this is to show you another thing, which is the fact that we have no long-term series. Long-term series, I mean 30 years of observation from space, 30 years. So you can start thinking about a model, thinking about a prediction of the future. And here what you see is the ozone hole over Antarctica. So the blue means quite no ozone, so really an harmless effect on the fauna and of the people living in south of America. And this did something that you know all very well. It followed into the creation of the so-called Montreal Protocol in '89, where there was a banning of the CFC, so all the carbon fluoride in your fridge, banned. And you see this. Sorry. You see this. This was the observable in the year 60s, and it began with satellite. You see the curve here. This is south hemisphere, this is north hemisphere. So you see it went down, and because we had the satellite data, otherwise no one would have seen that, we realized there was a problem. It was a critical problem. It was addressed at political level UN. There was the invention of the Montreal Protocol in the year '89. And you see, since the banning of the CFC, you see that it's slowly increasing again. So meaning that we have solved the problem. So the satellite don't solve the problem. It's the political will. It's the fact we had the Montreal Protocol. But without satellite data, A, you would not have seen the problem. And B, you could not see that because we have abundant CFC, we have solved the problem. So you need this sort of data, in this case it's obvious, to address the problem, to witness the problem, and to solve it. No decision without good information. Another example is Arctic sea ice extent. So you see, maybe it's not obvious for you, but this is North Pole. And what you see in blue is the extent of the sea ice in summer. And you see that in some years it's really retreating. This is Greenland, this is North America, this is Russia. And what I want to show to you is that we have this long time series. So we see the ice extent, and in 2007 it was really low. You see here the limit of the ice floating over the ocean. So meaning that all the rest now is free sea. So it brings a lot of problems because, as an example, before it was simply impossible to go by sea from Japan, China to Europe over the North Pole. Now you can. So it brings new problem, but this is not the discussion today. We discuss global change. But you can see that from space. And what I want to show this to you. Remember, I said before, there is a lot of caution, unknowns about the models that scientists use to predict global change. And there are people saying global change doesn't exist, this is a fraud. Okay, so here you have one parameter of global change, which is the extent of the sea ice over the Arctic North Pole in summer. And you see, well, this is of course extrapolation by simulation, but as from the year 70s, you have quite good observation of this sea ice extent, and you see here it was 1 million square kilometer of sea ice over the North Pole. So what do you see here? This is the average of all the model prediction with lots of unknowns by the scientists. This is the average of all the model. And on average, all the models say it will decrease. There will be less ice over the pole. So they say that in 2015, there would only be 4 instead of 8 million of square kilometers. This is the average. And then there are models which are more optimistic, if you want, because they take other parameters. It's not that they want to be optimistic. They take other parameters and they say, no, it's not true. It will take much more years to go down. And other models which are more pessimistic, not because they want to be pessimistic, because they come with other unknowns, and they say, no, 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 no. You will get there already in 2015. You will only be here. Now, in red, this is the observation satellite. And what that does mean, it means that in 2009 we were here already, so we were below the worst scientific scenario of simulation. And we were here, something that should have happened only on average in 2015. So meaning we are much worse today than predicted by the models. So the message I want to pass you here with this slide is that there are too many unknowns in the models. So it's true that there can be a spread. There are some more optimistic, some more pessimistic. And it's only because we have data which are available that we can trust the model or not, or make them better. So you need satellite data. This is the message. Then, of course, there are smart people who say, yes, but it's not true what you tell me, because you know, when you have ice on the water and you have wind, the ice is simply being shifted aside, like sand in the desert. And so you have maybe less extent, but you have also a bigger or a lesser depth or thickness of the ice. And so we send another satellite, this time to look at the thickness of the satellite. I don't give you all the detail, but it works. So, and you see that the thickness is still there. So it's really a shrinking, a loss of volume of floating ice. So you need several parameters if you want to be smart about global change monitoring. Another example, and by this example, I want to show you that the data is something it's implicit, and I think it's no big news to you, but the data are borderless. This is NO2, so it's a marker in the atmosphere. It's not anymore climate change, if you want, it's pollution. This is a mark of the pollution due to industry, due to traffic, due to the burning of the woods area in some area. And this was extremely, I wouldn't say funny because it's not funny at all. This was extremely remarkable as a picture because we got a problem because of that. This is China, this is industry in China, and the Chinese embassy in Paris said, you cannot provide this data, this must be wrong, because it was a marker of the pollution over China. And then if you go in more detail, in Europe this time, this is the same but enlarged. There was a question by Switzerland, why do you in Italy do nothing about pollution and import your pollution through winds over the Alps in Switzerland? And then there was another by the Dutch government or the Dutch parliament. Why are you doing nothing to protect your citizens? You must do something. And this is due to Rotterdam Harbor, you know, all these big factories, oil refinery. So you have a very powerful tool, which is borderless, these are neutral. This is not a question of act of faith. That I'm not saying you are a Nazi or you are this or you're that. This is a physical measure. And you can do also forecasts, but that's another matter. So another thing to do about climate change, I told you it's not only a question of monitoring and modeling, it's a question of mitigation. We know there will be more floods, we know there will be more droughts. So if you are happy, no, there is an unhappy event, of course, of a flood in Germany. If you are happy, you can fly with an airplane and you can see the zone, but most of the time there would be rain, so you would see nothing. So you are using SAR data, this is radar, you can see during the night, you can see without light, the satellite is providing its own energy, and you see in black the extent of the flood. And then you can do mapping over zone as an example. Another big issue is the question of food security. We know that due to the population increase, we will need something in terms of calories. I'm not thinking in terms of meat versus crops. In terms of calories, we need doubling of the supply within 30 years. So you need to know where you can grow, because it's only a small fraction of the land which is providing all what we are growing. It's 37% of the land which can provide 99% of the food, of the calories. And here come with another system which is looking at the status of the vegetation with the rain and this sort of thing. And at least we cannot improve, of course, the crops, but we can predict the crops like 3-4 months in advance, which is, of course, again, an issue of mitigation of what we know will be the impact of the global change. So, as a conclusion, as I told you in the slides, no decision without information. You don't have this satellite showing you the ozone monitoring. You have no clue there is an issue, and you don't know whether, when you take a decision, you know whether you are solving it or making it worse. The second thing, I hope I have shown to you that we have already the tools and it brings a contribution in global change, that's for clear. The third point I show you with this picture of pollution is the data are borderless, they are neutral. It's not a question of political system, easily comparable, and they are needed, especially in the terms of informants on international treaty. Because if I have to trust the Chinese, and there is no Chinese here, I can say so, but if I have to trust the Chinese to say what's happening in China, and if the Chinese have to trust me about what is happening in Europe, it can be a long game. I mean, we don't need to trust each other. But if there is something like a neutral physical measure seen from space, this is another matter. So we have the proven technique. This I showed to you, I think. But again, what we invest today or what we don't invest today will have impact only in 15 years. And I'm not pleading that you invest more in space. That's not the point. But I mean, this is something we need. And then we need this long-time series, because if I take only 1 year, it doesn't tell me anything. I need to see the trend. I need multiple parameters. This is why I showed you this example of ice. It's not only about ice extent, it's also about ice thickness. So I need all of that together. And I need to keep all this data archived, because there is a tendency to launch a satellite and not to care about the data. Because to send a satellite is funny, you know, it's high-tech, people love it. But to have the archive on a server, it's a bit of a boring. No one wants to pay for that. But if you don't pay for that, you don't have the data. Then you cannot compare to the past. And all of this lead me to the following consequence, is that it will be so difficult as a system to devise ice thickness, ice extent, CO2, pollution, land cover, all sorts of things, and that is also need to be agreed by the Chinese, by the American, by the African, by all the places, that I see no other way than to do that by international cooperation to solve systems. So I would say difficult time, very unfortunately. I showed this to you because of the simulation. But again, when I see what happened with the Ozone Montreal Protocol, I think if we want it really, we can have a good example. And this is what I put in red as a citizen, not as an ESA member. I really wish that COP21 will deliver. So I think with that presentation, you have the tool to show to you that global change is an evidence. You have also some idea that give you, yes, of course, there are different models with different error margin, but with the observation, you can see sometimes that we are already in the worst possible case. And I've also showed to you that indeed I find that the space systems can deliver a solution to help us improve it. That was my speech.
So thank you very much. Does anyone want to ask some questions? Yes.
Non, mais on peut le faire en français.
Sorry. Alors, je m'appelle Maimouna, je viens de Mauritanie, c'est en Afrique de l'Ouest.
Oui.
Et voilà, donc j'ai trois questions à vous poser. D'abord, comment avoir accès à vos cartes, à vos données? Est-ce que tous les États ou tous les citoyens lambda peuvent avoir accès à vos données? Ça, c'est la première. J'ai vu quelques...
So my first question is, I've got several questions for you. My first question is how citizens or states can have access to your data?
Vous avez montré quelques cartes thématiques. Ce qui a attiré mon attention, c'est celle sur la qualité de l'air. Je n'ai pas vu l'Afrique. Ça veut dire qu'il fait très bon de vivre en Afrique avec un point rouge ou parce que ce n'était pas couvert par le satellite. Juste avant. Voilà. Tout est bleu, ça veut dire qu'il fait très bon à vivre. Non, l'Afrique de l'Ouest. L'Afrique de l'Ouest, c'est pas. Je suis là. Alors, ça, c'est la deuxième. Et puis la dernière, oui.
My second question was about the air quality. I can't see any red point in West Africa, so does it mean that air quality is great over there?
Et la dernière, c'est, nous avons remarqué, c'est une remarque qui est récurrente, c'est que les prévisions météo qu'on affiche quand on cherche la météo pour la semaine, 10 jours, etc., qu'elle se trompe à 24 heures près. La veille, on nous dit aujourd'hui, il n'y aura pas de pluie, et le matin, on a de la pluie. Ça, c'est un problème satellitaire. Quelle est votre analyse de ce phénomène? Est-ce qu'il est vrai ou est-ce que juste, peut-être que nous, on est mal connectés?
The next question is about weather forecast. Well, we've seen some pictures and some figures here on the board, but actually, when we watch the weather forecast, I don't know, today for tomorrow, they say it's going to rain and finally it's sunny, or vice versa. So is it a satellite problem issue or what happens?
Ok, trois questions. Donc la première c'était les données, the data, access to data. Alors vous pouvez avoir accès aux données, c'est pas un problème. Le problème c'est que c'est un peu plus compliqué à traiter que regarder une image Google Earth Maps, c'est des données physiques très compliquées. Donc vous avez plutôt intérêt à visualiser des données déjà pré-traitées qui vous seront plus parlantes en tant qu'homme de la rue, comme moi.
You can have access to the data. The thing is that is complicated data, so we need some process in order to make it more intelligible by everyone.
Et donc ce genre de données, vous le trouvez sur le site web de l'ESA. Si vous allez dans le onglet Earth Observation, vous allez trouver ce genre de choses. Mais de nouveau, dites-vous bien que les données qui sortent du satellite sont hyper complexes et qu'il faut avoir fait un PhD en physics pour le sortir. Donc, ce n'est pas ces données-là qui vous intéressent. Mais elles sont accessibles, elles sont gratuites et vous pouvez les charger sur les serveurs. Mais ça ne vous servira pas à grand-chose.
So all the mapping like that and these kind of figures, you can find them in the at the ESA website when you click on Earth Observation. But what is strictly satellite data is really, really complex, and you need a PhD in physics to understand it. So it's not what you're looking for. You're more looking for this kind of maps that already analyze the data.
Donc la seconde question, c'était est-ce que l'Afrique est un continent agréable à vivre, du moins en termes de qualité de l'air? Bon, non, ce que la carte dit, parce qu'il y a d'autres problèmes. Il y a le problème de la poussière, des aérosols. On aurait pu avoir une autre carte qui aurait d'autres choses. Ici, ce qu'on dit, c'est une mesure en fait de l'industrialisation et du transport. J'avais parlé de transport et je ne l'ai pas montré. Vous avez ici, entre l'Indonésie et Ceylan, vous êtes au milieu de la mer. Donc, a priori, il n'y a pas d'industrie. Mais c'est une route maritime hyper fréquentée. Donc, vous avez néanmoins déjà un marquage de la pollution sur cette route. Donc, la seule chose qu'elle dit, c'est qu'il y a une zone ici qui est fortement industrialisée. Il y a la même chose du côté du Caire, et qu'entre, il y a pour l'instant plus d'industrie. C'est ça que ça veut dire, c'est rien d'autre.
Regarding your second question about the air quality in Africa, this map shows mostly the industrialized regions. So that's why you can see in South Asia, in the middle of the sea, in the middle of the ocean, yeah, a route that, well, normally you're in the middle of the sea, so you shouldn't have pollution. But as there is a lot of boat travel over there, it's a really important route. There's pollution inside of this. So if we take it into account, I don't know, a lot of other variables such as dirt and stuff like that, maybe you wouldn't have the same map.
La troisième question, c'était la fiabilité des prévisions du temps. Bon, ça dépend où vous trouvez sur Terre, bien sûr, parce qu'il y a des zones qui sont beaucoup plus stables dans le temps ou pas. Si en Europe, en Paris par exemple, on est au milieu de la conjonction de fronts, je peux vous dire qu'avec certitude que les prévisions météorologiques vont changer tous les 3 heures. Ça, c'est parce qu'on est juste à un point où il y a une très grande instabilité, une très grande connaissance. Donc, ce que vous avez ici, c'est uniquement une moyenne. Une moyenne. Ce qu'on voit, puisque vous en parlez, vous n'êtes pas dans l'hémisphère sud, mais voilà, on va parler de l'hémisphère sud. L'hémisphère sud, d'un point de vue purement météo, a beaucoup moins de données au sol, pour des raisons historiques, parce qu'il y a moins d'instituts de météorologie, donc il y a moins de données de référence. Et donc, on voit qu'à la même époque, en hémisphère nord, en 1981, on avait déjà une certaine fiabilité assez bonne. Bon, un jour, 3 jours, c'est quand même pas terrible. On était à 85%. Si vous étiez en Afrique du Sud ou au sud de l'équateur, en tout cas, ou en Amérique du Sud, vous auriez une fiabilité beaucoup moindre parce qu'il y a beaucoup moins de repères. Et qu'on voit que là où l'amélioration des prédictions est la plus grande, c'est grâce aux satellites qui permettent de circonvenir le fait qu'il y a beaucoup moins de données au sol. I will explain it directly in English, unless you want to translate.
No, perfect. Thank
No,
you.
simply, so it's an average. So if you come in a Paris area where you're at 2 fronts of meteorology, of course the weather forecast will be less predictable. This is an average measure. Another interesting feature is the fact that in the southern hemisphere of the Earth, there is much less ground station. So the forecast historically was always much worse in the southern hemisphere than the northern. But you see that with these new models and with new satellites, we end up eventually with models which are quite as good for the south and for the northern hemisphere. So the difference has been made possible thanks to the satellite. So it's not a satellite problem.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions? Other questions? Yes.
No, just a technical question. Will you send us the presentation about this?
Sorry, who?
Can you send us presentation?
Oui, it's on a computer. It can be sent to you. Yeah.
No, later.
Yes.
Yeah. Because we will use it afterwards for maybe for the event.
To me, what I find the most, well, the ozone Montreal is a very nice example. It shows that the technical aspect is not solving the problem, but at least it provides you with information to take a decision and to see that it's worth taking. So this was that example. And to me, the other good is this one.
Yes.
Because, you know, there are lots of skeptics to say, well, whatever we do, it's certainly not CO2. Okay, maybe they're right. I'm not a PhD in physics. What I can simply say that is the best scientists in the world, in the case of sea ice extent, have developed models. There are models more pessimistic and there are models more optimistic. And what you see at the end of the day, that observations show that we are even worse. So it seems to say that the argument to say that the scientists do not agree between themselves, to me, is not an argument to reject the theory. The theory is there. They are unknown, this is for sure. And if you have very complex physical models with unknown, and you try to predict what happens in 20 years of now, of course, the unknown, the error will propagate. And this is what you see. The error is narrow, and it's become bigger and bigger with time. But we show at the same time that observation helps you see if the models are right or no. And very unfortunately, in this case, they're not even as bad as the reality. So I think this one is interesting.
What was your question? Did you ask about the slides?
No, I'm saying that if it will provide us these presentations that we can
Yes.
use for
Yes.
Thank you.
You have a question?
J'ai une question alors par rapport à l'ESA, qui est un petit peu différente de votre exposé, mais
Oui.
j'aimerais avoir votre point de vue sur les recherches par rapport au réchauffement climatique qui sont menées sur des solutions spatiales, une espèce de parasoleil, etc.
Okay. Could you translate the question, maybe?
Yeah.
So my question is more directed to the ESA to know what kind, not only of measures, but more of solutions are planned to take spatial measures against climate change, such as a gigantesque umbrella for the sun. That was the example.
I'm not aware. Je pense pas qu'on fasse ce genre d'études à l'ESA, honnêtement. Je l'aurais entendu. Je crois que ce qui nous retient de le faire, c'est que c'est éminemment dangereux parce que si jamais ça fonctionne pas, qu'est-ce qu'on a comme possibilité de revenir en arrière? Il y a eu déjà des essais à grande échelle, par exemple, de fertiliser les océans, c'est pas l'espace, hein, de fertiliser les océans de la limaille de fer pour qu'il y ait plus de plancton, pour que le plancton absorbe plus de CO2. Et on a remarqué que ça n'a pas marché. Les histoires de grands pare-soleil, oui, mais enfin, il faudrait tellement d'énergie pour les amener sur orbite et pour les maintenir en orbite que je crois qu'il y a des solutions plus raisonnables à mettre en œuvre plus rapidement sur Terre. Mais bon, parce que le problème, c'est que les gens sont assez égoïstes. Si vous allez parler aux gens dans votre rue, moi j'ai un voisin, quand je lui parle du changement climatique ou du peak oil, donc le fait qu'on aura moins de pétrole que maintenant, il me dit tout ça c'est la connerie, ça fait 20 ans qu'on dit qu'on a passé le peak oil et on a toujours autant de pétrole qu'avant, c'est les grands trusts pétroliers. Donc il faut faire preuve d'éminente pédagogie et le problème du global change, c'est plus facile de faire rêver les gens, oui mais si la Terre est trop polluée, on va tous aller sur Mars. C'est plus facile de faire rêver les gens avec des solutions comme ça que de dire qu'il faut faire un effort. Je pense que c'est ça la pédagogie, c'est ce qu'il faut dire aux gens qu'on ne peut pas continuer comme on fait. On ne peut pas continuer avec 9 milliards d'habitants qui veulent tous vivre bien, c'est un droit de bien vivre, mais de vivre de la même façon dont on vit aujourd'hui. Voilà. Et c'est un message qui est un peu moins sympathique à vendre que de dire la science va tout solutionner sans que vous fassiez le moins de problèmes.
English, maybe?
So I think that I'm not aware of any fantastic scientific solution to solve climate on Earth, doing no effort on Earth, like sending big parasol, in the atmosphere, things like that. And also there is a big risk because there could be experiments that are not plugging, if I can so say. And then what you do, you don't have a second chance. So it's although very nice message to the people in general because it makes them believe that they have no effort to make. And I think this is part of your statement to the people. You must tell around you that there is no other way than to change the way we are living today. So it's a bit less popular. They would like to continue going on vacation or using their car all the time. It's just not possible. And so it's less popular as a message.
Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. We have a last question. Let's go.
Thank you for the opportunity. My question is not really a question, but I just need what this Paris Summit can do to help Africa. And the request goes like this, that we know that anthropogenic activity contributes more to the emission. But currently, it's having a toll on African countries, which have not really contributed to the production of these emissions. So how do we get the effort of the producers of these so-called emissions together to repay Africa back for what they are suffering from? In actual sense, they are not the one that caused them. Thank you.
So this is, of course, not a technical question to answer, it's a political question. And I said before, the point is not to say that we should continue the way we live, meaning that the poor should remain poor and the rich should behave as rich. We need to find together a solution. What you see, very unfortunately, well, you don't see it from the example I've showed to you, but what you see very importantly, of course, is that not only satellite data are borderless, but also pollution is borderless. So whatever we do is coming to another place. So in my view, it shall be an international treaty, and I hope that the COP21 will be just in that remits. And I believe that in the COP21 there is enough, not precaution, but there is enough reservation to make sure that we're not going to say that Europe needs to make an effort by 10%, but Africa is not allowed to grow. This is not the message. This is certainly not the message. But again, it's not for Ida to say that, the political part of it, but you are right. Excellent.
Thank you very much. I think we can tell you thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And thank you for coming in, such a good input.
Thank you.
Right. Okay. So before the lunch, we were talking about the recruitment strategy. So let's go back to this. So we were here, you remember, we were about the tool that you will find in the manual to inform the citizens. So I get back to this reverse planning, but please do not be worried, as this reverse planning has been made for the training in Paris, so in the 13th and 14th of April. So the dates will change, of course, a little bit for you. So this is the reverse planning for the last month. So about the recruitment strategy, we will work on this today. So you will work collectively about your recruitment strategy, but then when you go home, you would have to send us a recruitment form that you will find in the manuals. Actually, you will find it at the page 9 to 13 for the English version and 10 to 14 for the French version. There is a recruitment form that you will use. It's not hard. It's just like you have to provide which statistic did you use to complete this form, and we would ask you to send it to us as soon as possible to have feedback from us and to check if you are going in the right direction, because we don't have the opportunity to lose time, okay? So what I would ask you is, at the end of the day, you should have a clear idea about how to recruit the citizens. So please send us, if it's not done already, please send us tomorrow, or no, not tomorrow, we are in training, but after tomorrow, let's say, just at least send us a draft and we can react pretty fast because we don't have a lot of time. So this is like send the final recruitment strategy to Mission Publique. So the previous partner, they did it before the 24th of April because the training was on the 13th and 14th. So we would need like a first draft to have an exchange and to fix the final decision, the final recruitment strategy, I would say in 1 week, okay? Because then you need time to start working, okay? Okay, then you will start your recruitment strategy, and after the quality check of your group, you will send the confirmation to 140%, right? So this, let's say that you will finish to send the confirmation letter around 20 of May, 22 of May, okay? So it's like you have to move everything from 1 week because we are getting the training a bit later, okay? Then you would have to send the material, so we will get back to this, but all the citizens, there is one really important point. What makes the difference between the worldwide views and debate or survey, for example, is that we give information to all the citizens, and it's the same information from Japan to Gabon to Guadeloupe. So this is why then we can compare the results and make them stronger. So the material you will have to send to the citizens, it's like 30 pages explaining the main issues about climate change, because we do not want to influence the citizen, but we don't want neither to push them in a situation where we would ask about complex topics without knowing anything. Because this, if we do this, we take the risk that the person's answers quite randomly, like, what do you think about this? Well, let me improvise, yes, no, but then we don't have substance. We don't have correct information. So that's why we send this material to the citizens. Okay, so you would have to send it around, I would say, 25 of May, something like this. I mean, the most important is that the citizen, they have time to read it. If you are too short in the agenda, okay, I would suggest that you can organize maybe a day before, like a collective moment where you can read the manual all together. This will help also for persons who are illiterate. Edith, what do you think? She's thinking.
So different.
Very good. So yes, so this material will be offered in 6 languages. This is what said before Christian Lerid from the CNDP. So it would be the Chinese, Russian, Spanish, French, English, and the 6th one is Russian. Arabic, yes, yeah, I already said that. Exactly, you would have to translate it in your own language, of course, because we would not ask to the citizens to read 30 pages in English, and it's not practical. So you would have to consider time to translate this in your language, okay? Okay, and then until the 5th of June, you would have to make the quality check. Okay? This is something that you have to do regularly. As I said before this morning, if you do not do it regularly, you will end up with a group that doesn't fit to the criteria of diversity. Okay? So I just go back to the translation. I know it's hard because it's short. And I hope you could ask maybe for help maybe to some students. You know, if you split the manual, like 5 pages per person, it's okay. I mean, 5 pages, when you're a translator, you can do it in half a day. So it's not so long to translate it. Don't be afraid about that, but think that you will have to translate it before sending it. So which means translate and printing. You would have to print the manual for the citizens. If that scenario is not comfortable with you, you have to propose us solutions, like, oh, you will I'll give the microphone to Bjorn. Yeah, no, you're right, so there is a difference between the manual that you have here, which is for for you, the organizers, and it's an information booklet that we send to the citizens. Thank you, Bjorn. Right. It's about 20 pages, 20 or 25 pages.
I think about 25 pages, and it should be ready on Friday in English.
Okay, so it will be ready on Friday in English, so you will have enough time then to translate it, right? So to translate it and then to print it to send it. As I said before, this information booklet is really, really important because it will help us to frame the debate between the citizens and to be able then to value the results. If the print makes it complicated for you, as I said, just contact us and send us any alternative you think that could be good. But the information is that the citizens, they need to know before the 6th of June what is the matter, right? So then we can talk if you have any alternatives or if it's complicated for you to print the manual, the information booklet. Right. Now, specific situations. So for the recruitment strategy, you might experience, or you might be in that case, that, for example, big countries, it's a challenge. Illiteracy, it's a challenge as well. And the multilingual countries, right? So those are the three scenarios where previous worldwide use partner experienced some difficulties. Yeah, to write or to read. Yeah? So, according to you, let's brainstorm all together. What do we do if we live in a country that's too big to organize a national worldwide use? Who has an idea?
Alors, ça, c'est les trois situations spécifiques. Donc, quand le pays est grand, comment on fait? Quand il y a un taux d'analphabète très élevé, comment on fait? Et quand on est dans un pays où on parle plusieurs langues. Donc, ça, c'est les trois spécificités, les complications qu'il peut y avoir. Et donc, je demande collectivement, comment est-ce qu'on fait quand on vit dans un pays qui est grand, pour recruter au niveau national, comment est-ce qu'on fait?
So, who has an idea? Who lives in a big country? Yeah? Okay, so how you will do to get people from all the country in your world wages on the 6th of June?
1 week.
Actually, it's a bit difficult for us, but our organization, we have zonal offices in 6 geopolitical zones of the country. So we're going to make use of the zonal offices for the recruitment for each zone. They will now bring everybody together at the headquarters.
Do you want to add something?
The geopolitical zones, the least geopolitical zone has about 12 states. So from each state, we have the number that we're expecting so that we can touch each zone. So that's just.
That's very good. So Carmen, you're translating because I can see that. Yes? Okay, so big countries, of course, it could be hard to get people from all the country, but you could find like some relay, like some structure that can help you to touch the different population in the different regions of your country. Then if it's not possible to bring people from those regions, you could at least find like one person, or it could also be a facilitator at the table who comes from the region. Yeah? Björn, would you like to add something on this? No? No. Okay. Also, I give you as an advice, as I told you, the Facebook group has been created, and for example, last time Indonesia, they also shared their strategy, like, oh, we will do to have people from all the country. So do not hesitate to have contact also between all the partners and ask like, oh, are you dealing with this? You know, like I'm experiencing the same issue, okay? Now, illiteracy. How do we do if we have a high rate of illiteracy in the country?
Comment on fait quand on a un taux d'analphabète trop élevé dans son pays?
Comment fait-on pour les personnes analphabètes?
Who has an idea? Yes?
I want to step back a bit, and but we have issues with Philippines. Is a relatively big country with huge population, and we're scattered all over 7,000 islands. And there's a question of different languages as well as illiteracy might not really be an issue, but I think it's the complexity of climate change that might prove to be difficult for those who would want to attend or intends to attend the gathering. My coming from a background that is heavy on process, mainly convening people and ensuring that we're able to get good conversation, good dialogue from their presence. My main concern would be on the issue of how, it has to be a very compelling, this has to be a very compelling gathering for them to be able to join us. So how do we sell the idea? Because as it is right now, we are pushing for it. But what would make them come and join us on June 6th? How do we attract them? What would be that reason for them to join us? That's one. Second, how can we make a very complex topic like climate change and make it more understandable to the ordinary man of the street? Like for instance, in the case of the Philippines, when you talk about climate change, people would probably have difficulty understanding it because it's still conceptual. But if you start talking about earthquakes, if you start talking about volcanic eruption or Typhoon Haiyan, then they know because it's more of a personal, it's a personal experience for them. So these are things that plays up in my mind, and I think that's a challenge for not just Philippines but for other countries, probably in convening people. What compelling reason to get people on board on June 6th? And second, how can we make it a little simpler, more open, more welcoming, so that everyone will be there? This is a question.
Thank you very much. It's a question, but you also answered. I mean, how to attract people, like how to motivate them to come until the room and express themselves and spend the day brainstorming. This is completely true that you have to translate this climate change, big topic, complex, we do not know what is it, blah, blah, into a local translation. What does it mean for people from Philippines? What does it mean for people from Mauritania? You have to translate in your communication daily. What does it mean, the climate change, for someone? When we were in Guadeloupe, one of the girls, she said that she met someone from the countryside. He had no idea about climate change, but every morning when he did, I have no idea, but I will remind it, when you go to the toilet and you okay, he has seawater in the toilets. It looks like a stupid example, but he was living daily the infiltration of the sea by the ground directly in his toilet, So you have to find a way to translate it and to motivate the citizens with what they know about the climate change. So you're right about this. Like if you say to someone, hey, come on, let's talk about the climate change. No idea, and I won't come. But now let's talk about what does it mean an earthquake for you, and what do you think for your children that we must do, we need to do now? It's like try to transform the questions or the communication into a local context. So thank you for the input because it's really highly important. So just get back about big countries. You can find some, you have different options. For example, we will see it later, but at the table you will have a facilitator. The facilitator could be from the different region. The thing is, we do not have a solution for each country because you know better than us how to deal in your country. So try to think what is the best to get some representativity. We, of course, we are not able to provide all the answers as we do not know the local context, but you do. So this is why the recruitment strategy, it's the first draft, is also a communication that we will start together because you will provide us the local context and the difficulty that you have in your country, and we will try to find a solution together, right? About multilingual countries. This happens quite often. So what you could do is also to have, for example, one person at the table who make the translation, as Carmen is doing it. you know. So if you ask maybe to some students, they might know the official language, but they might know also, I don't know the English word, but all the regional languages. So he can maybe translate directly at the table, you know. Who experienced this issue, the multilingual countries? Who would have this issue, like different languages? So how do you, which idea do you have to resolve this?
I think I said it the other time before we had the break. We have about 250 different languages in Nigeria. But we know that principally there are 3 major tribes. The other minority tribes, they have one language in common. It's not really an official language. We call it Pidgin English. They mix little dialects of different community with English language. So we are trying, but we now discover that there are now different type of Pidgin. The one in Sapele is different from the one in Warri. But both Warri, Sapele, and Asaba, they are in one state, which is Delta State. So what we are trying to do is that we want to get standard Pidgin translator and then facilitator. Then for the 3 other principal languages that the speakers are there are more than 10 million. We have we translate into that, then we support it with English language. So that's just the only thing we are doing. We can't take all the 250 languages.
Good. Yes. No, we can do it now.
Alors, j'ai déjà un peu lu le manuel. Donc, il y a une recommandation qui dit qu'il faut que les tables soient mélangées. Si on a ce problème linguistique, peut-être qu'on aura une région ensemble, il n'y aura pas ce mélange. Donc ça, c'est un souci. C'est vrai que c'est une solution que par table, on ait des langues, mais après, il n'y aura pas ça. Et puis, je n'ai pas entendu de proposition pour les illettrés. Chez nous, ils font 42%. Ils n'ont pas fait les cours.
Yes, so yes, so we were talking about languages, and when we are in a multilingual country, and the thing is that if we, at the same time, we need diversity at each table, but if we need to have a facilitator that speaks a local language, maybe we should take one table one language each time. And we do so, there's less diversity at each table, you know? I think it's a question for you, Nigeria, because you've got the experience. And the second question was about illiteracy and analphabetism. In Mauritania, 42% of population don't read nor speak, nor write, sorry. And so what can we do in order to find a viable solution to this problem?
Thank you, Carmen. Okay, so about illiteracy, you have a few options. You have the options to add someone in the team who would be sit at the table, as Carmen is, comme Carmen Elfela, and she will translate directly to the group. So in that case, you're right, you would need, no, sorry, I'm just mixing two things. Yeah, exactly. So for illiteracy, you can have someone who reads the questions to the person, like really a direct support. And you can also organize a day before a global meeting where you read all the information booklet with the citizens. So maybe, okay, I just answer all the questions and then we go back with the feedbacks, right? So this is one point, and there are some reactions, so this is really good. Now, multilingual countries, you said, but at the table, we will lose the diversity. You're right. If we need to make tables with French speakers, English speakers, so adapt to your context. Of course, you will lose a bit of the extreme diversity we are looking for at the beginning. But this is also part of the game, you know. So what you could do is from the people who speaks the same language, you can mix different age, different gender, women, men, young, you know. So you can try as best as you can to have diversity on the table. But of course, if you can't, you can't. I mean, it's like this. We are just trying to put people that are not used to work together to talk that day. But if it's not possible, that's not, okay? So do not worry about that. So just I give the microphone because I've seen many hands rising, so thank you.
Just a suggestion, probably, for us coming from developing countries, the question of literacy and even language might, because we're very visual, like in the case of Philippines, for instance, we're very visual. It would help, for instance, if there are comics, or I'm looking at the 25-page material that will be given to the participants. If there's a more visual version of that, that would be most appreciated, and that would work for us. Okay.
So about the visual, Björn, you want to say something? Yeah.
So first, a quick remark on literacy. I mean, another option is that someone from your team reads aloud the information material and puts it on the web, for example. That's an opportunity for illiteracy. There's also the opportunity to encourage citizens that are illiterate and receive the information material to go to someone they know, you know, a village school teacher or something like that, and ask the village school teacher to read this aloud to them. About making it more simple and visual, the information booklet is not the only thing you will need to translate. There will also be information videos that are showed on the actual day. So this is our last guarantee that on the day everyone will receive not all the information that is in the information booklet, but some of it, the most important, will be comprised in information videos to be screened on the day. So we can get as close as possible. So these are two possibilities. There was a question about how do we attract citizens to this event. In many countries, it works if citizens trust that that the results are going to have a meaningful impact. So this is also in the invitation letter. You know, they need to understand what we plan to do with the results. We are making some promises as global coordinators to take it a certain way. You know, we promise that it will be presented and discussed with key policymakers, key stakeholders, etc. We do not promise that policymakers will do what the citizens say, but we promise we will have a dialogue about it. That is from the global coordination side. On top of that, you can make your own promises as national coordinators, depending on how much effort you are planning to put into it after June 6th. You can promise, for example, that you will have a meeting with the delegation, the COP21 delegation. You can promise that you will have a dialogue with the committee in Parliament in charge of crafting policies and giving the mandate to the delegations. But this will be all up to you, you know, how much you think you can promise. So these kind of promises in themselves will be interesting to many citizens. On top of that, in some cultures, it would be normal to promise to give a certain fee, you know, a little amount of money for for the efforts of citizens, that depends completely on the culture and on your budget, of course. So and it can also be that you plan to make a nice reception somewhere, you know, that it becomes an event that will be interesting for them. I want to touch quickly upon also the information material, the information that is given on for this event, because there was a question about the slides from Isa. It is important in this project that the same information is given all around the world. So in order to make the results comparable. So that makes it the format a little tight. That also means that you should not invite, for example, an expert to the meeting to have a lecture about climate change, because that will change, you know, that might easily influence the way citizens look. You can invite someone to talk about what is written in the information booklet, but they have to stick to that information. So it will be better to have a teacher to present the information booklet than an expert. Okay, that was just a few things I picked up.
Thank you, Björn. Sure. Also, about the question how to attract people, I want to add that in my country, for example, in Georgia, when you invite some stars or something like who are very famous in our country and tell that there will be this person and he supports our event, then everybody will come because to see them, and so it will be good to attract and also how we are going to attract people is a small video clip which we are going to create as a volunteer by our volunteering to upload it on social pages, and social pages are always a very good way to communicate with people and to advertise your events like Facebook and so on. So I think that these two things will be very helpful and useful for other countries also, which we are going to do in our country. Thank you. Thank you. Who had a comment?
Est-ce qu'on peut recruter via des réseaux sociaux? Chez moi, ça marche très très fort. Je ne l'ai pas vu comme exemple donné, donc les réseaux sociaux. Et puis pour les vidéos, je voulais demander si c'était possible. Par exemple, comme la vidéo qu'on avait vue tout à l'heure où il y avait le sous-titrage en anglais, est-ce qu'on ne pourrait pas nous envoyer des vidéos non sous-titrées, mais avec les textes qui vont servir de sous-titrage en annexe? Et comme ça, nous, on peut traduire les textes et à chaque fois, on rajoute le sous-titrage à notre niveau, soit en off, en voix, ou soit en texte.
Okay, so two technical questions. First is, can we recruit citizens through social medias, for instance, Facebook or something like that? Because in our country, in Mauritania, it works a lot, and in France too. And secondly, about the videos, the information videos, the question is, when you send to us the videos, could you also send the text, the written text, along with the videos, so that we can translate it and subtitle or create a voice-off from the text?
The video we will explain tomorrow, I think. So you will get detailed instructions on that. About recruitment, yes, social media is certainly a way of doing it. Just be careful that you know which groups the social media will reach. and see if this is enough. I mean, maybe the groups you can reach through social media can help you identify citizens from other groups, or you would need an alternative strategy to reach those other groups. So certainly, better give it back.
Thank you, Bjorn. Okay, so now I suggest that we try to work collectively. So now we had like an input about how to recruit citizens, some tools, which kind of difficulties you could have, blah, 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 blah. Now it's time to work collectively at the table, because each of you has already a professional experience also, and maybe you have some ideas or ideas to share. So what I would suggest is at each table we will leave about, let me check what time is it? 3h30. Okay, so let's take half an hour to work collectively. So the idea is that everyone introduce his recruitment strategy, okay? So in Georgia, what do you think you will do? In Bahamas, what you will do, etc., etc. And at the end of those 30 minutes, one of you will play the role, excuse me, will play the role of the facilitator. You will see in the team on the 6th of June, there is one person, a facilitator, who will also report what the tables said. So I explain myself. You work collectively, everyone introduces his recruitment strategy, and for example, at the end, Vashti, she will explain to all the group what the recruitment strategy they decide to. Okay? So one person per table will introduce to all the group the results of your collective brainstorming about recruitment strategy. Okay? It's clear for everyone? Okay, so you can use the form in the manual to have an idea about the questions you will have to answer in the recruitment form that you will send us in 2 days, because you want this project a success. But thank you.
Tout va bien. Ça me semble très bien. Je pense qu'après ça, on fera un petit de ce qu'on fait. Tout à fait. On m'a déjà envoyé. Je te l'envoie. Génial. Génial. Hein, super. Hein, bravo. Ouais. Un week-end de 1er mai. Et un remplacement. Oui. Voilà. Non, mais bravo. Bravo Nathalie.
You present the team, the thing I take information. Yes, just to agree on
tu viens avec moi? Je t'invite à 9 minutes dehors.
Okay, I'm just sorry. I just ask your attention for 1 minute. I forgot to say that. Okay, just one second. At the table, you would need one person. Just, I'm sorry, to be clear. At the table. Donc, at the table, we would need one reporter. That's what I explained before, but we also need one facilitator. Facilitator means that you have the person, for example, you take this role, you have to be sure that all the persons speak around the table, okay? So we reproduce the technique that we will use on the 6th of June, okay? So please choose one facilitator and one reporter, okay? Thank you very much.
Moi, je suis créatif de la télévision. Je fais des émissions, secteur des télé, des livres, particulièrement, j'ai créé il y a quelques années une télévision qui favorise un jeu de récupération familiale. Le but du jeu était d'aider les autres à réaliser des projets. C'est de la délibération.
On va réfléchir à ça. Qui est l'animateur?
Toi, tu es l'animatrice. L'animatrice, et c'est nous qui avons trouvé aussi.
On va tous travailler. On va tous travailler ensemble.
Idée pour le Sénégal.
La méthodologie, c'est normalement s'appuyer sur vos statistiques nationales pour la première case, la case de l'âge, de zone géographique, le niveau d'éducation, la profession, des membres d'associations environnementales, c'est ce qui est le plus difficile à trouver, et de sexe. Alors, page 29. Okay.
Chacun fait ce qu'il veut.
À partir des statistiques nationales, il va falloir remplir les différents critères d'âge, zone géographique, niveau d'éducation. Vous avez déjà fait ça va être beaucoup. Et pour le Sénégal, je vais regarder. So you have voilà, vous avez une agence nationale de la statistique et de la démographie. C'est parfait, là, vous avez fait. C'est comme
Non, non, le problème, c'est pas un jour. Non, non, c'est comme des apps.
C'est pas la population totale de femmes. Il y a plus de femmes que d'hommes. Elles vivent plus longtemps. Âge moyen de la population, 22 ans. Je suppose que c'est un pays jeune. Proportion de célibataires, proportion de ça peut être un critère supplémentaire. Est-ce que les polygames et les monogames ont la même perception des changements climatiques? Dans les critères
La polygame, c'est du mélo.
On va dire quoi, 52% de femmes à peu près? Exactement.
So, first group, I would suppose you would
Bah oui, bien sûr, pas suivant, pourcentage,
Comment tu les fais venir notre système, le système de solidarité, soit les réseaux sociaux, soit la pub sur radio, discuter avec le politique. Il a besoin de savoir ça. Nous, après, vous avez avec les statistiques dans les modèles, ça, mais c'est à l'intérieur de la flexibilité.
50%. Proportion des femmes dans la population, 50%, 50-50, des hommes. En plus, ce sera plus facile pour faire le panel. Population. Sur l'Agence nationale des statistiques de la démographie et de la
s'appelle c'est plus seul que potable. Dans le temps, c'est important. Alors attention, il y a une possibilité pour les avoir. Ils ont forcément. C'est là qu'il a rentré. C'est pas toi qui l'as fait. On te donner les adresses, on les associe à l'histoire. Ça va proposer d'ailleurs. C'est ce qu'on demande. Les personnages de
On va faire un par bouche à oreille. On va sélectionner un bon panel de connaissances, mais un bon développement. Donc, je vais partager j'ai choisi 3 stratégies.
La troisième,
ah oui, oui,
Stratégie, c'est la page d'après.
la radio, ça marche bien. C'est la télé, c'est
En fait, quand vous avez le temps, déjà, ça demande de calculer le pourcentage. C'est pas qu'il vous donne des chiffres bruts. En fait, il donne la population totale. En fait, ça nous donne, voilà, c'est ça. Il donne population totale, population totale, 13 Taux d'urbanisation 45,2%. C'est-à-dire qu'il y a 45% de personnes qui vivent en ville. Première page. Bah oui, je parie, je donne l'information.
Voilà ce que j'ai.
Well, maybe if you can change it's the same as what we want. Yes.
Pour l'instant, je regarde ça. Il faut faire creuser les statistiques. C'est-à-dire que $6, ça fait 45%. Et $2, ça fait 54,5%. Et après, il faudrait voir un peu plus de manière indirecte. Ça,
Ça c'est clair, mais c'est orienté, c'est ça se passe. Regarder avec tes
Je te laisse téléphone et sur la stratégie. Là, c'est les Sénégal. On essaie de commencer à avoir une place de on a déjà fait le travail pour la stratégie. Donc, on va bien pouvoir échanger et se dire quelles sont les meilleures stratégies pour ces deux pays qui sont voisins et qui rencontrent les mêmes problèmes. Pour avoir son citoyen normal le 6 juin. Voilà. Là, c'est le défi. Et aussi le conseil de Carlo, ce type
Ça, c'est certain. Twitter, mais moi, je connais pas l'agence de pub.
should be there. I understand what I'm saying.
Oui, par parole. Ici, ils sont pas sûrs sur le blockchain parce que le système de gestion arrivé à sortir le citoyen lui-même. Ce sont des logiciels de soi utilisés. C'est pas le problème qui soit là. Voilà. Quand il y a une déclaration, je ne sais pas si ça c'est plus une étude, c'est délibération.
Yeah.
Also, NGO,
C'est une stratégie géographique aussi. La Casamance, on aime beaucoup. On voudrait beaucoup qu'ils s'intigrent. Il y a l'avancée de la alors, qui tu vas contacter
la cible déjà, on va passer. Aussi à envoyer les lettres des euros de région
The basis of our main
toujours un c'est pareil.
Ça, ils ont mis ils vont durer déjà, moi de mon et aussi passer par il y a les réseaux sociaux, Facebook, la presse, et la presse écrite, c'est le verbe. You're part of it, like that's cool. Après, nous, on ne se demande pas D'accord.
Il faut l'autorisation. Il y a une autorisation aussi.
Si moi, les
Et elles ont leur gouvernance.
Alors, les associations, on a des associations j'ai toujours peur de la manipulation. Donc, si le ministère,
Ceci dit, de mettre les gouvernements en amont.
De mettre les gens du gouvernement en amont dans le dispositif, etc., c'est que de façon intéressante parce que après, si les influences qui vont sortir, etc.
Ça, c'est pour le mode de dissémination qu'on va aller amener au pouvoir. Est-ce que nos politiques sont réellement intéressés par ce mode de citoyens en réalité? Pas forcément.
Historiquement, c'est différent pour les pays. Historiquement, aujourd'hui,
Sur ce domaine, sur ce point-là, parce que c'est une opération personnelle.
Elle fait partie, elle a déjà rendu sa copie.
Alors justement, il va y avoir quelque chose. Là, il y a
Comme je sais que le gouvernement a ne l'intéresserait pas déjà allez, je sais que le Parlement, c'est ça que je disais.
Okay. So I hope that working together you found millions of solutions to get 100 lay people in the room on the 6th of June. So as I said before, you have one reporter for each table. So maybe first, could you tell me who has been the facilitator at this table? Who was the facilitator? So all facilitators, okay? Here, who? Okay, great. So we will have your feedback then when we will talk about the team. You will let us know for you what was easy and hard to make. Yeah, exactly. And here, who was the facilitator? Okay. And here, open, Camille. Okay, great. So now, who is the reporter? Yes? Who is the reporter? Okay, I understood. Okay, and here, who is the reporter? Let me know about your name again. Benedetta, grazie. Okay, so every reporter now will introduce the best recruitment strategy you found on the table. Okay?
Okay, so it was easy for us because we're just three in the table, and first we did, getting to know about each other's context, and I think that helped us in agreeing, coming up with some important items that we need to consider in terms of recruitment. And we just realized that there are some areas that we share between the Philippines and Iran, and that's why we were able to come up with some broad strategies on how to recruit citizens. So these are the two major points that we talked about. Given the limited time and the limited resources that we have, it's just less than a month away. We will have to work with our partners, contact persons. In the case of Iran, they have their university partners as well, and some partner NGOs to help in identifying and recruiting citizens. But offhand, we already have some identified areas given the geographic magnitude, the spread of, because in the Philippines we have about 17 regions all throughout the country, and in the case of Iran they also have a huge distribution of people in the different areas of Iran. So we've decided that we can identify the regions and areas where the participants will be coming from, where the citizens will be coming from. And we will partner with our contact persons and our community partners, university partners on the ground. And prior to the June 6th event, we will gather our partners so that we can engage them in a conversation where there will be a shared understanding of what's going to happen and the objective of why we are doing this, so that it would be easy for them to recruit citizens coming from different areas. So we're going to do face-to-face, and we will, in our case, we will also mobilize all our staff to help us in recruiting participants to the June 6th event. But what is important here is that we will agree on the set of criteria of the citizens that we will be recruiting in the different areas. We will also, of course, agree on the deadline when we have the number already. And then the second item is, given the scope of, given the geographic distribution of the citizens in our country, we will concentrate in recruiting in identified areas. I think I've mentioned this, but with equal representation in terms of the age groups, in terms of gender, in terms of geographical location, where they are coming from, and their occupational occupation. So that's in broad stroke, that's our strategy.
Very good. Thank you very much. Okay, now, so I know that here we've mixed the name and surname. So what's your name? Okay, Ciala. So you are so who is the reporter? Nino.
So in our group, we had 3 country representatives. These are Bahamas and Bosnia and Georgia. And so we discussed separately about the citizen recruitment strategy. And for Bahamas case, we decided to go through the dissemination of the official letters to the youth organizations and different partner organizations, and so the age of the groups is from 18 to 30, and also we discussed about the challenges that might occur during the event, and it was the transportation, but also transportation from the islands to the cities, and we decided that it will be useful also to involve these students who are studying in the city from the islands. And also one of the points was the religion issues. To disseminate the information through churches, seems that it is very useful in Bahamas. And also, what was the main point? I think we had the common ways of recruitment strategy. Also for Bosnia case, we came up about so they will use the database of the NGOs. So they have the database of coalitions of the NGOs, which includes more than 5,000 people, and so they will use this database by sending them official letters and information. And as for Georgia case, so we will use we will involve all regions of Georgia, because Georgia is not a big country, and so we will be able to bring to the city from all regions of Georgia the representatives, and our organization works at also at local level, and in all regions we have our own representatives, our local coordinators, and so we will use this network, and also we will involve youth organizations, women organizations, and also so we will include all criteria for the recruitment strategy. So this was the main topic of our discussion during the group work.
Thank you very much.
So we have one question, like not a question. As we know, like French embassy in our country accepted in Georgia, that we could manage to organize this event 5th of June, because it's a Friday for us, and 5th of June is the day of environment in Georgia, not in Georgia, in world, and it will be better to connect. And also Bosnia had such a discussion with the embassy of France in the country, but they have not got even an answer from you, so confirmation. And so we would like to ask you if it is possible, because as we know, it is possible from Georgia, and we will manage on 5th, but maybe Bosnia will wait from you some answers also, and we want your confirmation once again.
Okay, so a parenthesis about this. So yes, it's possible to do it on the 5th, but there are some conditions. You do not have to upload the results on the 5th, but on the 6th, because in the effect of the project is that in one day you will see all the countries uploading their results. So if you upload it, then on the 5th you just break the effect, and also to not communicate about questions. The video, like you do not have to communicate anything about the content before the 6th. For example, at the end of the day, you will upload what the citizen says to the web tool. So you do not have to upload those results on the 5th, but on the 6th, in order to be, because it's instantly visible online. So if you put them on the 5th, Japan will start the day and they will know what you said before. This is not what we would like. So exactly. So you upload the results and all the photo, everything. And about the content, I mean the questions. The questions and the video, because you will be the first one to discover them. The video, at least.
Social media, because we invite all of them on the event, and there will be like representatives of all media coverage of Georgia. They will manage to show it on Friday. Or we can ask them to show it on Saturday. It's not a problem.
That would be better. So if you have any media or any communication, to ask them to communicate on the 6th of June. I will wait for the return of Bjorn to ask about the media, because I think the most important is about the content, the question, the video. But maybe it's just maybe if it's a communication about just the event, maybe you can do it on the 5th. I just wait for Bjorn to have his confirmed. Hey Bjorn, I have a question. Like Bosnia and Georgia, they would have to organize it on the 5th of June. So we just explained that they would have to upload the result on the 6th, and also to not share any content about the questions and the video. But the question was about the media, if they want to cover the day. Is that possible to communicate about the event on the 5th? Yes or not?
I mean, strategically, it would be better if you can make an arrangement with them that they communicate on the 6th. Yes. Okay. You think it's not possible?
Well, when 6 Pope is coming to Sarajevo, everything will be about Pope.
Ah, but he cares very much about climate change.
Yes. I agree, but...
Not that much.
No, I mean in terms of media, you are aware that everything will be related.
Yeah. I mean, in that case, I think it's more important to get the media attention on the day than to wait. Yeah.
If the media ask you, for example, which question they worked on, this has to be secret until the 6th. Okay. So thank you. Now, the reporter from this table is Benedetta.
So this table represents Nigeria, Afghanistan, and Italy. We were talking about this, so about the best method or the most important categories, but our discussion lead us to the conclusion that to have a high representative debate, we have to choose each country, have to choose a lead category. For example, we were talking about the importance of occupational category, for example, in Italy, the age category and the geographical and geopolitical category in Nigeria, but also the educational level category and for Afghanistan. And for each reality, we understood that, for example, in Afghanistan, we can have a snowball recruitment for example, talking about the strategy, and also face-to-face recruitment using universities and networks of the universities involving people that came from the city, but there are also migrants in the city, so that they represent also the rural reality. In Nigeria, we can have three, the most important categories are age, the first one is the most important, but also the occupational category, and at least, but last but not least, the geographical and geopolitical zones that represent an important reality in Nigeria. And in Italy, we know that the occupational level and the occupational categories represents the most important criteria. So this is our first choice, the occupational level, and after this the age, the division in ages, and after the geographical divisions in Italy, in regions, for example, that is important for the provinces. We believe in the bottom-up strategy, so this is very important for us, for our region, and for this project to develop it well.
Thank you very much. So yeah, congratulations to everyone. So I hope that this group work helped you to get some ideas. Sorry, just apologize.
Faut présenter la stratégie de recrutement. La stratégie de recrutement. Juste. C'est tout. Ah, mais vous aussi, on vous a recruté quand même. Bon, moi je présente.
So, I present myself. I'm Nasser Bakari.
Ok.
Where is the second microphone?
Ici.
Thank you.
So I'm Massali Bakari from Senegal.
From Sénégal et Mauritanie. Je présente la stratégie de recrutement vis-à-vis des deux pays qui sont frontaliers.
I will present the recruitment strategy of these two countries which share a border.
Qui, comme le Sénégal et la Mauritanie, d'abord comme premier critère de sélection, on passe par face-to-face.
So our first strategy would be the face-to-face in both of our countries.
Via les réseaux sociaux, Facebook, Twitter, Skype et aussi par la presse écrite.
Okay, so as you probably understood, they will also use social media, Facebook, Skype, Twitter, etc., but also the news press.
Et aussi sans oublier que dans chaque région, nous avons des points focaux qui nous servent de relais, auxquels qui travaillent avec les communes, les communautés ruraux et aussi les villages.
And for Senegal or for both of them?
Sénégal, Mauritanie, je sais pas.
And also, well, at least for Senegal, they've got in 5 regions local teams that work with rural people, and so they will use these local teams in order to recruit some citizens, and then.
Et aussi, on travaille avec le Conseil national de la jeunesse, auquel nous travaillons en parfaite collaboration, y compris le Conseil départemental, qui sont dans les différentes régions du Sénégal. Le Sénégal d'abord compte 14 régions.
So Senegal has 14 regions, and we're working with the Youth Council of Senegal, and so we will be working together. Yes.
Okay, qui sont répartis en 4 zones Est et l'Ouest, auxquelles on va essayer de travailler pour essayer de centrer et tout. Comme ça permet à ces différentes couches illettrés, lettrés et aussi les écoles, que ce soit collège, école primaire et universitaire.
Okay, and so we'll try to work with all these regions, so East, West, North, and South, and we will work especially with schools, middle schools, and universities in order to palliate to the illiteracy problem. And voila, maybe. No, they will look for help within the schools, etc., to explain to the people that cannot read them.
Moi, je pense qu'en Mauritanie, je ne sais pas si on va faire la même stratégie parce que on a un problème de temps, donc je ne sais pas si on va pouvoir associer tout le monde. Nouakchott représente le tiers de la population. Tout le monde y va parce que les nomades, les éleveurs qui vivent dans le désert, c'est pas évident de les contacter, etc. Donc je pense qu'on va se focaliser sur la ville de Nouakchott, qui est quand même un échantillonnage de toute la population. Si on arrive à bien travailler sur la ville de Nouakchott, je crois que ce sera déjà largement suffisant. Nous allons privilégier les stratégies face-to-face, boule de neige et médias. L'idée des églises, je ne dirais pas église mosquée, parce qu'on est à 100 musulmans, est une idée aussi à creuser. Ça peut être aussi voilà.
Okay, so it's okay. So in Mauritania, we don't know yet. We don't know yet how we're going to do this citizen recruitment, because the time is short and it can be really complicated. So first we thought about a national debate, and now we are thinking to focus the debate on the Nouakchott region, which Nouakchott is the capital of Mauritania, where 1/3 of the population lives, and so it would be a regional debate around Nouakchott. And we will use the face-to-face technique, also the snowball sampling technique. We will also use the social media, and well, we were interested by what you say for Bahamas about the churches, and we think we're going to think about doing the same in Mauritania, but with mosques, because they're Muslims. So that's the point. Voilà.
Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. So now questions time.
It's about Iran because people usually don't know international institution, so it's important to have a local partner, and one of the best partner can be media. But my question in general is that bringing a strong media, how we can conserve the neutrality of the result.
Okay, I think there are two moments. If you use the media to communicate about the project and to attract people to come on the 6th of June, then the media can help. No? Yes. Then about the neutrality of the results, the neutrality of the results is guaranteed because it's the point of view of the citizens that would be uploaded through the web tool. So we will explain then how it works during the day. But
but my question was, if bringing it's in general, bringing a local partner can overshadow the neutrality of the results or not?
Yes, but where do you see the local partners? Like at which step do you imagine the local partners? Because
mainly in outreach of the news, from recruiting and to tell what happened over their media attention.
You mean like if you ask to some local partners to find citizens that
For example, they can announce through their website because they have many visitors.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so then you would have to make the quality check. This is what I told you. You would have maybe many volunteers that will say, oh, okay, I want to do it, I'm interested. You will register them. You know, this is the big 250 and 350, the first step of getting the contact. And then in this group, you would have to make the quality check and to send some rejection letter to some people and confirmation letter to the other one. So you would be, as an organizer of the World Wide Use, the guarantee that the group is not influenced by any local partners. Make clear that you can use them as relay, like to find new people, but at the end, the quality check is your task. Okay? Cool. One thing, it's about the enrollment form. So you will find it in the manual. So for the English page, it's a little after page 13, but I do not have the numbers of pages. But it's like enrollment form. So here you will find some questions like personal information, gender, female, male, the age, the occupation, if they are active members or not of the environment NGO. So this will help you to know the information you would need to build your panel. No idea. I have no idea which page is it for the French one, but it's just it's the first page of the annex. Yeah, which number you said? 33. Yeah, exactly. Ah, yeah. Ok. Page 33. Non, c'est pas là. Encore. Formulaire d'inscription. So 35 for the French version, 33 for the English version. So this form will help you to know where the people they are coming from. Okay, like the age. All right. So, yeah?
Can we modify a bit the enrollment form, especially in case of this much transportation and accommodation?
Yeah. So about transport and accommodation, it's up to you as an organizer to see if you can and if you want to propose those two services. So if it's not the case, just remove them. Okay? Thank you, Luc. Is that okay for everyone that you can remove the part for transport and accommodation? Yes? Benedetta. Just in this form, you can remove transport and accommodation if you don't provide to the citizens. Yeah? All right, so who is confident to recruit the citizens in his country? Who is confident? Who feels confident about recruiting the citizens? Qui se sent prêt pour recruter les citoyens? Okay. So, right. Who doesn't feel confident to find the 100 citizens? John? John is from the Danish Board of Technology. Okay, so do you have any questions about this for now? Bjorn? That's good.
I'm just one comment on the strategy in Mauritania. If you invite citizens from the capital region, will you be able to recruit a sample that is large enough so that you can say that the views of these citizens represent the view of the whole country? Okay. So, I mean, in that case, it's a nice and practical strategy. Yes.
I think I have a question.
As we had a comment from Bahamas, they are going also to involve from the capital these people because there are students from regions of the country who study here, and they represent other regions and other parts of the country, and that means that they will involve in this day, and they will say their opinion by their region. So it does not mean that if there will it be one car or one like plane for other people who will come there, then it doesn't mean that it's not a whole country of the country representatives who will not be there. So this is the point.
Just one thing, it's if you decide to get in touch with students that, for example, comes from other regions, then you will have only the students' age category. So you have to multiply the sources in order to find people with different ages and also different educational level. Because if you take students, it means they just respond to two criteria. It's young, between, I don't know, 20 to 30, and with educational level of university. But then how will you find persons that are 50 years old and unemployed from those regions? So you have to multiply the different sources. So Bahamas, you want to react? Sorry, I'm just calling you by countries. I'm really sorry for this. Yeah, exactly. So, yes.
Yes, and so to address the other category groups, we will also look at workers, because we have workers that come in from different parts of the country, and so we will try and recruit from that aspect. And then for older members, now that may be where our challenge may be, because they tend to stay, home. So, but we will try our best to reach out to them. What we know of older members in our country is they pay attention to the news. They pay attention to information in the newspapers. And so we will put out information in those two areas, TV news, newspapers, and see if we can recruit. Now, I don't know how much diversity we would get in terms of coming from other regions, but that's how we intend to recruit the older members.
Thank you very much. Björn, you want to add a word?
I mean, all we can ask is that we all try as hard as we can to get that diversity in terms of these criteria into the room. I think that's the best we can do. And if in case we find, you know, in some places that we cannot claim, or you as an organizer cannot claim that the sample you have is representative of the country, then what we do is to put in brackets the region. So just so we do not make a claim that we cannot defend. Because this, when you go to the media after this event, this is one of the first questions you will get. You know, but who are these citizens? And you have to be able to give a credible and understandable answer. Probably what we'll also do, even though time is short, but we will try to have on the webpage, you know, for each country, it would be nice if we could just get a few sentences saying that we believe that the citizens in this consultation is representative for the whole country that have been recruited in this and that way. So we are transparent and decision makers can see, okay, where are these results coming from.
Thank you, Björn. I just add an information because I think that some partners here in the room will be concerned by. In some countries, for example, Italy, Mauritania, Senegal, you have also other partners that already showed interest. Okay, La Regione Toscana. There is someone from Mauritania that came at the previous training, Senegal as well. So what you would have to do is to collaborate and maybe to put efforts together. So that means, for example, in Italy, if a few regions organize debates, then you would have a national representativity, but you will organize just a regional debate. You know, it's like adding all the info that we will get the national effect. Okay, so I will invite you to collaborate with the partners within your country, and maybe you will find it easier to find the 100 citizens and to organize also the World Youth Day. Okay. So, so we would ask you to send us the recruitment strategy that now you have an idea. So please send it to us. Would be really nice by the end of the week. Then we can have a feedback and to validate, to check it at the beginning of the next week. Then you can start working. Right. All right, so we will have a 5 minutes break for coffee. And then we will work on the World Youth Day. So what, like the team you would have to build for that day and the logistic, and then we will close the day. So 5 minutes coffee break. Enjoy.
Quoi? Ça va? Oui. C'est bon? Oui.
De faire du sport? De faire comme il a fait.
On va faire ça. On va faire ça. Ça brûle le café?
Ouais.
Allez. Et puis ce sera la bonne occasion pour parler de santé, c'est bien pour parler de ça.
d'abord parler des points qu'on a pu jouer
Hospitalier, tu veux dire workshop, il y a deux
oui, bah oui. Il y a la confiance aussi de jouer. Oui, c'était pas la seule. La pression. Oui, c'est juste un nom. C'est pas. Oui. Bien sûr. Ça, c'est super. Déjà, ça, comme tu disais, c'est génial. Apprécier en direct ça.
It's not 20 euro, So I don't know Tanzania geography, but council with north, south, or she knows the city. So you go through it the same. So we will just to say that. Moi, pour
oui. C'est ça. Ouais. Oui, bien sûr, c'est systématique. Et puis comme tu as dit, oui. Oui. C'est ça.
Somehow or solely your because I had yesterday, last week, I had a meeting with
Danish
On sait pas vraiment
license,
dans les legislation.
responsible for Bosnia because there is no any embassy anymore in Bosnia, but it's in Belgrade. So, but it was before I got information about the event just the day before, so I didn't ask him, but maybe they're also interested in some countries. Would like or not to take part.
Yeah, let's try. It's not very easy to mobilize.
I mean,
we didn't try hard enough and didn't try the right place, but it's difficult. So, it's interesting. You know, Nick from UFCC, he mentioned specifically one of some of the most influential so it's actually not it's not a very crazy thing.
I mean, in some other countries it would be probably easier in a way, but in Bosnia we have three religions, and Catholics are the smallest of these three, so we have like around 40% Muslims, 30% Orthodox Christian, and like 17 or 15 Catholic. So when you work with them, you have to work with all groups. So I mean, the visit of Pope is not seen as a national event, but still, even with the previous Pope, John Paul II, was very important during the war. He came also, and so there is some kind of even not so religiously based connection with the Pope as more as some kind of respect. Yeah, general respect. And the problem for having it the same day is, I think, less of this connection with the topic. Yes. It is more, to be honest, it's more logistical thing, because I don't know what will be the transport regime in the city. Media attention will be fully for that. I think the French embassy involved also, or the ambassador will go to the certain activities there. So it came from the French embassy last on the 5th of last They are expecting around 80,000 people in the stadium, so it means that by buses they have to come somehow. So I think it will be additional difficulties for the organization. Although on that, what you are mentioning, that contextual thing, I would agree that there is no any overlapping negative ways.
I was also, it was not a suggestion for changing the day to the 6th. I was really thinking that, you know, maybe the spokesperson in your country might, you know, persuade someone to say in the 6th, you know, by the way, but yesterday,
yeah, of course. I mean, it's
a long shot.
We will see. I mean, still, it will be a very short visit. He will come in the early morning. Approximately, his visit would be exactly as the time for the worldwide view events from early morning till afternoon 5, 6, and then he's going back to spending the night in Sarajevo. And he will have his program is like, and media will follow him probably on every different event, activity that he will do. But for example, what is advantage maybe certain type of people who will join on the 6th can come day earlier because of our events, and will be spending quite some time and they are already there. So we will see link it also. Yeah, I mean, in general, so it shouldn't be a problem.
It also could be, again, a long term, thinking out loud. That's arrangement that someone from the media is asking, for example, to put a question. You know, yesterday there was
that we have to think about. I have to check the schedule generally. Arrival and then
Or this would only work with a good
yeah, just thinking out loud. Yeah, of course. I was talking to John by email. Yes. I asked because of the language also what's the situation in the region, but he sent me only from Serbia. The contact, nothing for Croatia, Montenegro, so Macedonia. I mean, we have a lot of NGOs in these countries, but I'm not sure it's these French embassies in these countries. But we cannot partnership, I don't know, maybe I can assist with some contacts because it's 1 month before. Whereas or not. I think it's possible, but it has to be like that I already tomorrow said for both you and that side. I mean, there is a sustainable development and especially for civic participation, one foundation that I'm pretty sure that will be interested in Zagreb, in Croatia. And it's my colleague that is director, so I can easily send her info. The question is there space also even in French embassies in countries, or they are not involved, or there is no chance to be involved? I mean, just because of certain funding that can come from the
For this question,
because I mean the advantage is that they are small countries, so it's not on logistical terms. It's not difficult for them to organize. Especially Montenegro is like 500,000 population. I mean, so it's not a big deal. Croatia is 4 million, but it's still not.
Is that one?
Yes, yes, yes.
Something impossible. So
That's this.
yeah, probably the only thing for them would
If this is going to be a tradition to do this project, I'm going to learn French.
Because in that case, I can use tomorrow to connect. Okay.
I mean, there's no harm in trying.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, he's involved and he just sent me back that he is interested, but that no one, what doesn't mean that I don't know where the previous contacts, but he said that like I was not informed about training or anything else.
With many organizers, there can be mistakes. I'm not sure what. Perhaps.
But at least
I wrote to him that I say, just hear from the experience and difficulties in the project. Please contact me. Communication. Right. So let's see.
I asked also about Croatia, Montenegro. I mean, I have certain contacts, maybe it's too late, but yeah.
But then again, you learn about it the Thursday, right? So.
Yeah, in terms of that, it's still possible because there's more countries. Logistically, for them, it's not something.
Serbia, Croatia, that's
like more in Montenegro.
Yes, yes.
Alors, oui, ça va, alors, c'est ça, on est en soi et justement, il y a la possibilité elle, la exactement. Non, ça sera mais il y a déjà des données. Voilà. Il y a aussi des modèles. Ils viennent à chaque fois en and you need to wait for it. For you.
Un peu intéressant.
Ouais. From where are you taking
I can show you on the map. The names. It's a Yes.
On va le mettre dans le. Non, alors là, je sais. Radar, c'est bien sûr. Ça peut croiser. En gros, il y a dans les types de clusters, il y a qui peut être aussi fait par des radars, on n'a pas les mêmes informations. Ah oui, ça par exemple,
Yes. Not satisfied.
Là, effectivement, c'est bien d'avoir un territoire démontré. Oui, ça permet d'être assez novateur à ce niveau-là. Et derrière, après, de en général, pas dans le développement durable, mais en général, dans les applications sociales qui apparaissent dans l'espace, par exemple, et derrière, mais ça, peut-être pour voir l'évolution à la télé, il faut voir les choses spéciales. Ah oui, ça peut faire des choses par la chaleur, on arrive bien à voir quelle est la densité en termes de dégagement. Ah oui, ça on arrive à faire. Alors moi je sais quand on va y arriver. Mais je pense que clairement la mesure possible.
Bonne journée, voilà.
c'est un continu, mais sur...
Non, mais c'est pour ça.
Ce qui est possible de faire. Je pense qu'il y a quand même beaucoup de choses possibles. Ça, c'est toujours. Parce que la quantité est énorme. Et puis surtout la c'est super beau. Enfin, c'est beau. Voilà, l'interprétation qu'on nous fait, c'est ça.
C'est vrai, c'est vrai. Oui, c'est ça, voilà, que les gens font quelque part.
C'est pas sans, mais c'est déjà pas mal.
Exactement.
Les tracés, c'est logique.
Des circulations, yes.
Oui, c'est l'ONG. Bon.
He's ambitious.
C'est 5 minutes.
Okay. Let's go back to work. So as I can see that we are all tired, even if we had a good coffee, we will suggest something that you will use on the World Wide Use Day. I feel as a teacher. So you will see after that that on the World Wide Use Day, we suggest a sportive moment. When I say sport, it doesn't mean that we will run and really make sport, but it's like 3 minutes just all together doing some movements just to relax, because we are thinking since this morning, we are tired. It's at least 5. We all want to go out, so just to refresh the energy, we will ask you just for 2 minutes to play that game. And we have a professional of the question, which is John. Okay, John Callow works with us in Mission Publique, so he's working also on the worldwide views, and at the training in Paris, he also animates the small sport moment. So he kindly accepts to do it again, but it works only if you accept to stand up and to follow the next movement. Thank you.
Okay, like I said that like Latin said long time ago, mens sana in corpore sano. You can translate if you want.
Same spirit in the same body.
It's very important to do a bit of sport every day, and also in this occasion, it's very important to work better later.
Yes, it will help to work better.
So
okay.
Just pet détente.
Okay.
Okay, stand up. Stretching. Okay. Wait. Down. You can try to touch your feet.
Okay.
Okay. Touch to earth. The other one. Okay. Now. Okay. Very good. Very, very good. And now it's a bit difficult, but if you can Okay.
C'est une question d'équilibre.
Okay. The secret is just looking someone something. Okay. Now inspiration. I think it's good.
Yes, thank you everyone. And thank you, Giancarlo. Great.
You're right.
No, I didn't, because I don't feel tired. I'm okay. Good. Okay. So now you refresh your mind. Let's go back. Okay, so the Worldwide Youth Day. It's okay. Let's have an overview. So you can go in the manual in the English version from page 7, 8, and from the French version 8 to 9. Okay, so the 6th of June. The 6th of June, you will have to manage those topics. So you will have to make a staff briefing, checking, introduction, international thematic sessions, breaks, local national sessions, and closing remarks. So I will develop each title. So staff briefing. That means that on the 6th of June, you will be really stressed. Your team will be stressed as well. So we would recommend to start the day a bit before that the citizens arrive, and you brief the staff. So the staff, we will see later what does it mean, but you will see that on the Worldwide Youth Day, you will be around 15 to 20 persons managing the event. So you, as a project manager, please organize a staff briefing. It's very important that everyone knows what he has to do, where are, I don't know, the toilets, blah, 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 blah. You know, it's like everyone needs to know what he has to do during the day. So please take a while for that, as it's really important, because then you will experience 20 people running everywhere, asking you 10 millions of questions, and you just want to die on that day. So please organize a staff briefing. Right. Then all the citizens arrive, so you will have to make the check-in. So for example, at the entrance, you could have a list where the citizens, they can write their name and surname, and also leave their email if they want to know more about the project, like what you will do with the results, where they will be able to follow the project. So do not hesitate to ask them the emails. Yes. And if in your country is relevant, maybe to add an info, like do you accept to receive information about the Worldwide Youth Project, and then they have to put across. Right. So as soon as all the citizens are sit, you will start with an introduction. So the introduction is really, really important. So you will have to explain what they will do during the day, how long it will be. So it's like we start at 9, we will finish at 5. You will work on 5 thematic sessions. You will work by group. You know, it's like to describe what's happening for them. And also be precise on when the breaks are, because they need this. Okay, so for the introduction, you could ask maybe to important or relevant person to open, like an official launch of the project. So it's up to you. What do you think is the best? But it could be, I don't know, a scientist, an expert, a minister, what you want. Okay, but it's like an official launch of the project. In the introduction, could you stop? She's not a translator. She's getting a friend to everyone. Okay, so introduction is also the moment where you will clarify the expectation of the citizens. it's the moment where you will precise the frame of the action. It's like you have to be clear on the fact that we try our best to impact the negotiation, but it's not a direct copy. Like, you say this, so the negotiators will do this. So you also have to precise the frame of the project, because then it could create some disillusions. And you will also explain that there is a facilitator on each table, like you will try to explain them all the info they will need to work correctly. After the introduction, so you will work on the international thematic sessions. So there are 5 sessions, and we will see it later, but the structure of a session, it's about 1 hour. It's a video, a short video will introduce the problematic, the main question, the key issues. Then the citizen, they will work at the table for 45 minutes, and then they will have an individual moment to vote what they think it's the best to do. So actually, the first session is about 1 hour and a half, because you will have to explain everything. But step by step, it would get shorter. So we agree on the fact that it would be around 1 hour each session. So you need 5 hours to follow the 5 thematic sessions. Then, of course, you will have to prepare some breaks. So as we did, for example, today, it's 1 at the morning, the lunch break, and 1 in the afternoon. Because as you can experience, it's not easy to stay 8 hours in a room. So for some citizens, it could be a bit heavy. About the local and national session. So this is an important point. All the citizens of the world, they will work on 5 thematic sessions. But if you want to adapt it to your local, like regional level or national level, you can add 1 session. So you can add 1 hour of work specific to your country or your region. Okay? So we will get back to this, how to structure it. And then at the end of the day, you will have to say goodbye, everyone, to explain them where they can find the results, what are maybe the next milestones until the COP21. So closing remarks. So I just get back on the breaks. So in the method, in the worldwide youth method, there is no specific time for the lunch, because the idea is to not break the debates at the table. So there is 1 table with some sandwiches or the lunch, the catering, and each table can move on, take his lunch and go back to the table. For some cultures, that's not negotiable. They need a lunch. I'm talking as a French one now. So in that case, you can add a lunch, like have a break for 1 hour, but you have to consider that it's impossible to make the international thematic session shorter than they have to do, sorry. I need to do sport, maybe. So, for example, so this, we know it's 5 hours. If you decide to add a local or national session, it's 1 hour, so 6 hours. So if you want to have a lunch break, 1 hour, you would have to manage in your day 7 hours. So just consider it when you announce the program of the day, because it won't be possible the case that, yes, we start at 9, we did 3 international thematic sessions, we went to lunch, and then everyone was tired and they left the place, and we didn't answer the 2 last international sessions. This is not, of course, what we want. So be clear when you announce the program at the morning, at what time it starts, but also at what time it ends, okay? It's clear?
Yes.
Yeah? Cool. Okay, about the team now. Okay, so this is the team that you will have to build for the 6th of June. So you will see that some of them, as the project manager, for example, you start working from now, but some of them, the facilitators, they will work only on the 6th of June. So you have like different level in your team. So the project manager is you. The project manager is the person that is able to answer all the questions of everyone during the day. So do not mix it with the role of the head facilitator. Now I'm doing the role of the head facilitators, but you will be the project manager, or you can maybe exchange if you think that it's better that you are here, but you have to think about someone that take care of all the type of question. I'm a media. I want to make an interview. I would like to know which person I can interview. This person will ask you to the project manager. But this person, the head facilitators, cannot answer all the questions that are around the day, because the head facilitator would be fully absorbed by the day, the citizens, and to drive the event. So try to organize two different persons to manage the project manager role and the head facilitator role. Okay, is that clear? So the project manager has an overview about all the day, and he can answer all the questions. The head facilitators is what I'm doing now. It's like talking all day long, introducing the video, and like driving the group during the day. Is that clear? Yes? Cool. Then, so we have the catering staff. So if you think about doing a lunch, but even if you don't, it's good to have two persons behind or the bar or the restaurant to give food to the participants. Without food, they will not do anything. So think about the catering staff. Then the technician, the IT technician, that's really important. As you've seen this morning, I didn't have sound, for example, on my computer. This on the World Reviews Day could be really stressful. So think about someone who tried that the sound works for the video, that the images works for the video as well. They might also ask you, the citizen, they can ask you for some plug for the phone, for example. They want to tweet on the day, or I don't know what. They will ask you for a point of electricity. So think about all of this technical aspect, and someone has to manage this. Okay? Then one physical exercise instructor. So you have to find one Giancarlo in your team. So as you've seen, the physical time, it's really important, because I mean, you don't have to do it. It's not an obligation, but it's a suggestion. Because by experience, we know that it helps people to get, it's like a funny moment and collective moment. So it's also good for the cohesion in the group, but also seriously, to evacuate all those information by the body could be really useful. So then you have to find the appropriate way of in your culture. So it could be, it's not, it could be a Zumba class, if it makes sense in your country. It could be a meditation class, if it's relevant. I mean, try to find in your culture what the citizens will appreciate to do for 3 or 4 minutes. Okay? And please take pictures, because I want to see that. Right. Then we arrive here. So 15 to 18 group facilitators. This is the tables that you will need to get 100 persons in a room. You would have tables with around 8 persons.
5 or 6.
5 or 6. 5 or 6. Okay, so you will need one person who is doing the job of the facilitator at the table. So you remember when we worked on the recruitment strategy, what was the role of the facilitator? It's to help that the communication, like all the participants, express themselves. So this facilitators are really, really, really important because, as you can imagine, on a table, you would have shy people, you would have person that knows everything, you would have like a strong character or they're not. So we need one person to help sharing the debate and to drive the session. We would also recommend to train those facilitators before. It's strongly recommend because if you don't, you might be a bit surprised that because to be a facilitator, it's also a question of how you deal like the human relation. No, it's you have to be polite because, for example, I think I know everything. I'm at the table and I will tell you that this is the truth. How the facilitator can stop me? He has to be polite, diplomatic. He has to be, for example, Patrice. We try to imagine that he's shy. He's not. But imagine he's really shy. As a facilitator, I have to help him also to express himself to the table. Okay.
Thank you, facilitator.
Thank you. You understood everything. So yes, the facilitator is really important. So please try to organize maybe one session where all the facilitators come and you explain exactly what they would have to do. Okay? Then, a media assistant. So the media assistant has a few roles. First, he has to deal with the media. If you invite the media to come at the event, of course, we do not want a zoo effect, like citizens are walking and everyone taking photography and turning around and blah, blah, blah. So we need someone who filter a bit, like when the media can ask to someone to make an interview, blah, 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 blah. And also, we add, it's not written, but we also need someone who is recording the training. So the best would be by video and also photographer. I will explain you after, maybe tomorrow, what we will do about communication, but you will see that we need your images to build a documentary, and so we will talk about this tomorrow, but it would be really nice if you can manage that someone take pictures and record the training. And we also have a tutorial, because it depends. Or you have a professional that can make the video, and if you don't, because it costs money also, we have a small tutorial to teach you how to get good images, so you could explain to someone that would be in charge on the World Wide Youth Day. And then we need 3 vote reporters. So that means that at the end of each session, the citizens, they will vote, okay, on the form. The facilitator at the table will collect all the forms and he will bring it to the vote reporters. The vote reporters, they have 1 hour, which is the time of the thematic session. He will have 1 hour to report all the results. So question 1, answer B, question 2, answer C. And we recommend to have at least 2 persons to do that. Because when you have to upload the results for 100 persons and you have to do this at the end of each session, in 1 hour, it could be stressful. So we would recommend to have 2 persons to share the work, okay? And maybe 1 person, I don't know, to help. I mean, try to have 2 to 3 persons for the vote reporting. So some partners ask us, like, do they need specific knowledge? Not really. They need to know how to type and to enter, like how to use a computer, basically. But it's nothing about being a good, it's not being a geek, you know, it's just like be able to enter information in your computer. Okay, so no specific knowledge. Any question? Yes.
Y a-t-il une formation spécifique pour les facilitateurs?
So yes, we recommend that each organizer think about 1 day to train the facilitators.
une journée pour...
Oui, ça c'est le temps, mais la formation elle-même, le contenu.
No, so the question is, do we have content to train the facilitators? No. Yeah, that's it. It's like you follow the training, so you know what they have to do. So you would have to explain them what they have to do. And you can use the manual to help them to understand what they have to do. Okay? So you are in charge to train your team. So, for example, if you are the project manager, you will have to explain exactly what the head facilitator has to do. You will have to explain to the group facilitators what they have to do. That's clear, no? I can see all your face is scared. Do not worry. Okay. Any questions? Clear for everyone? Yes? So, do you have an idea where you will find the facilitators? Yes?
I have one question.
Yes.
About the time, like time frame. If there's like 1 hour this session, one session, question, like if it will be less than 1 hour, then will it be some problem? Maybe half an hour it will need only half an hour for each session, or not 1 hour, then what will happen, like, if it will be a shorter?
So, the video, it's about 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. Then 45 minutes for the brainstorming, it's not too much. I mean, it's pretty good. If the person says, yeah, but it's okay, in 10 minutes we answer already the question, we don't have any more to say, then the facilitator has to refresh the conversation, you know, because we are here to enjoy also the opportunity that the citizens, they can express themselves. So of course, maybe they do not have a specific knowledge, so they will say after 10 minutes, I'm okay, I don't have any more to say. Then the facilitator say, okay, let's work. Exactly. No. So you have 100 citizens and your team. So you can ask also students to be facilitators. That's a good way. So does anyone has an idea how to get the facilitators?
Oui, moi j'ai déjà une idée dans mes facilitateurs, c'est que je vais déjà les recruter, les cibler au niveau du recrutement. J'ai pensé à un groupe de volontaires qui travaillent toujours avec mon association, et ce sont eux qui vont m'aider dans la phase de recrutement, parce que je sais qu'il y a la rencontre avec les personnes, le déploiement des fiches, la saisie de tout ceci, et ils vont travailler le jour J comme animateur.
So I've already thought about the recruitment of the facilitators. So I think I will pass by volunteers that usually work with my NGO, and I was distracted.
Qui vont m'aider au moment du recrutement, donc dans le face-to-face, le remplissage des fiches, comment on dit, le tri, tout le travail. Voilà. Et qui vont donc le jour J travailler aussi comme animateur.
So these volunteers will do two works. First, they will work with me in order to recruit citizens. So like that, they will be friendly with familiar with the method. And then on the D-Day, on the 6th of June, they will help me in order to do the debate properly by being facilitators, because they would know already what is the method.
One comment. So the facilitators is also really important because it doesn't have to explain to the citizens what they think. It's like, for example, I'm here, I'm the facilitator, and this table really don't care about climate change. wow, bad luck. It's an old table. They say, well, no, I'm not interested. I have no idea, blah, 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 blah. As a facilitator, I'm concerned by the question. I'm motivated. It's really easy to be attracted by the idea to say, no, but I will try to convince you. But this is not the role of the facilitator. The facilitator doesn't have to convince the citizens. It's neutral. It's the Switzerland role in the Second World. Okay, so it's the idea is to so yes, the facilitator doesn't have to control or to be afraid also about the debate, or it doesn't have to look after a consensus. Okay, it's not what we are looking for. So the facilitator, it's really important to find someone who is able at the same time to deal with all the different personality he will have in front of him, but also without being the center point, like what we experienced in the previous training in La Réunion. We were on the table and one person was talking a lot, one was very shy, and the facilitator was a bit shy as well. And at the end, the strong character, the guy, not the facilitator, one of the participants, he took the role of the facilitator. And the facilitator was completely behind, like, I'm lost, okay, it looks like that this guy is driving the debate, okay, and he just hide himself behind this strong person. So the facilitator are also to be, in the same time, the authority when he introduces the session. Then to be able to give the word to everyone. Then to put his ego somewhere else because he doesn't have to convince or anything, you know. So when that's why it's important to have a day where you explain to the facilitators how is important and how good is their role, because they will guarantee the quality of the debate also at the tables. Okay? So what we will do is tomorrow morning we will simulate the day. So cool. So at each table we will have one facilitator and we will give you roles. Like one of you would be the strong person that knows everything. One of you would be the shy person. So it will be a good training for each facilitator at the table. You will experience how complicated it could be and how good it could be also. And then you can transfer these knowledges to your facilitators. Okay? Right. So just a check to see if you understood well. At what moment we give the vote to the vote reporters? Like who gives to the vote reporters all the citizens form? Looks like the school.
Juste pour vérifier, donc qui donne les formulaires qu'on remplit les citoyens à ceux qui rentrent les votes sur le...
Yeah. So who gives the citizens form? You know, at the end of the session, the citizens, they will vote individually on papers. Who gives these forms to the vote reporters? Yes, the facilitators. But just okay, good. Yes.
My question is more about methodology for the sessions, because that's the key part of the event, and it's repeating 5 times. First question is when we will have these presentations. As I understood, it's video presentation plus some material. Is it part of the info booklet that is on Friday? I mean, at least the part of it, or I mean, the name of 5 sessions and content.
I will present just in 2 minutes. I will present about the information material, but the video is 1 week after.
Okay. And also, based on my experience in such discussions, 45 minutes is a pretty long period. So I don't know the information and content that you will have. But if you have 6, 7 people that are not expert in a topic,
and that they are basically less or more interested and motivated, maybe afternoon after the lunch less, etc. For me, based on my experience, 45 minutes, it's too long. Usually when we have such discussion in small groups, the most effective is 20 minutes, maybe it's cultural also thing, maybe not, but people start to become nervous if they are too fast for finishing something. So the question is here is not only one group, we have 5 sessions. So if they will finish and be faster every time, it can produce a bit of negative energy, especially because some of them will travel 5 hours before event, 5 hours after the event. So for us, we are a bit more in Balkan temperament people, so it can be a problem if it's too much time secured for discussion and no need for them to discuss so long. So I need more about methodology in terms why it's 45 minutes and what happens if they're faster, because it's 5 cycles.
Okay, thank you. I give you the microphone, but just I have maybe some info that I didn't give. The questions, it's closed questions, which means it's not like, what do you think about biodiversity? And now we have 45 minutes to talk about it. It's 5 questions, really specific, related to the video that they will see. And then there are 5 proposals of answers. So maybe what you could do is like exploring each answers. You know, it's like they would have to choose one answer from the 5 possible answers. So maybe you can explore the different stakes for each answer. You know, it's like it's also support to animate the debate is that you have those closed questions and 5 possible answers. I just give the microphone to Björn.
Yes, so it's good if they have a temperament. Then it will be the role of the facilitator to maybe help provoke a discussion. As Tiffany says, for each session, there's a set of questions. Probably we're finishing them right now between 5 and 7. For each of these questions, there are a set of different answering possibilities. So it's the role of the facilitator to make sure that at the table, the citizens discuss all these different questions. So it can also be the role of the facilitator to say, but what do you think about this? And ask one person. And maybe if there's another discussion going on, the facilitator can also provoke a discussion by saying, but did you consider, you know, the counter argument? And they would have some of these arguments in the information booklet. So in the information booklet, there will be arguments for and against, we hope, these different answering options. So this is a way to stimulate a debate, and there will be many things to discuss. Having said that, of course it's different. I understand that from country to country. You know, how long people are willing to discuss. But I think the facilitators can easily stimulate a debate, because there are many different questions and many different ways of looking at the answers.
Thank you, Björn. So just we will see after about information material and questions. So you will have a look how it is, you know.
So yes, we know the main idea of the event of this 5th of June. We know these public debates and so on. But maybe we can add something like about the results. Like when we say to the people that if you will have a discussion which will be correct or incorrect, then you will have some such kind of outcome. What can we offer of after their discussion as an outcome of their what they will talk about and so on? Maybe if they will answer correctly, or how can we make the interest of them? Yeah, I'm a citizen. I'm coming to the debate, and yeah, I had 5 questions I answered, and then what? how can we show them the outcome and what will be this outcome to make them their opinions and their interest of the event.
Tomorrow we'll talk a little bit about dissemination and media strategies, ways of taking the results and getting them into the public debate, the policy debate about COP21. So this is what we can say to the citizens, that we will do this, that and that about the results. The global coordinators, we are responsible for doing some things. And as national organizers, you can also make promises, as many as you think you are able to keep, you know, about arranging meetings with the policymakers and so on. But we will go into a little more detail about this tomorrow, so it's a preliminary response to your question.
Thank you. Yeah, this is true, is that tomorrow we do the communication and dissemination. You will have a lot of arguments to motivate everyone. So don't worry about that. Okay, so let's go now to the information, material and questions. Do you have any question about the team for the day? It's okay? Good. All right, so I will ask kindly John to introduce us the information, material and questions, and you will see how it looks like.
Thank you. Yes, that's it. Yes. So, as we have been talking about the entire day, we are inviting lay citizens to participate in deliberation over climate and energy. The information material we provide them will ensure that they are able to actually have an informed discussion about such advanced topics. Yes, the information material, the booklet, it's 25 pages, are based on the questions. And these are produced by a professional company and are still being finalized. So, I'll just, yes. We had 2 rounds of feedback from national partner. Most of you are new partners, that's why you are in this training and not in the training in April. So it is closed. We had feedback from a scientific advisory board on the questions. We had feedback from industry and civil society and from focus groups. What is really important for you is that the written information material, including the question, will be available on Friday, 8 May. Yes. The questions which you will receive, will you need to translate into your own local language. You need to send a translation back to us at the organizers, and as I will show you later, and there will be a video, you will need to put the question on our online web tool. Yes. When putting them online, you will receive a personal link for our web tool, and you will have the guide as well to do this. We will show you briefly now, but I think you will benefit much more from looking at the video we will make. Yeah. So
the access to the internet is necessary in the day of event for filling out the form?
Absolutely, it's crucial. Yes. The length of the information material, we have discussed that, approximately 25 pages. You can distribute it between yourself, you can do it yourself, you can hire a professional company to do it. What is really important is that you do it fast. You need to give this to the citizen no later than the end of May. The sooner the better. So what is really important is you need to translate the material into your own language. You needed to send them to the citizens as soon as possible. And how do you then ensure that they actually read it? Do their homework. 25 pages. Lay citizens. So, you cannot sanction them very hard, so you have to encourage them. What could you do? You could have a student worker, for instance, reading the information material out loud on a YouTube video, and then send the YouTube video to them. As Tiffany said, if big countries, it might be relevant to transport citizens to your meeting the day prior. And there you can also have a meeting with the citizens where you read the information material for them. You're not supposed to start discussing, but you can read the information material to them. Yeah.
I just changed it. It's the new one.
Yes, but one more time. No, the film. So one more time. Yes. Now for the film material. On Friday, you will get the questions and the information booklets. Friday, May 8th.
In the evening.
In the evening. You have them Monday morning probably. So, the video material, the film material, you will have 1 week later. You will need to translate them to your own language. You will need to record the translation on a sound file, and you need to edit the video. So we have a video here doing this.
So I just have to click on this?
Yes. Now Camilio will explain to us how this is done. I hope.
Do I need a connection, internet connection?
Yes, yes. Didn't we have that?
So,
Oh.
1 second.
Yeah.
So now you can see how it's important to have a technician.
Yes.
Because now, how are we?
So it was pre-planned.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe we could break it here and then just continue as the very first thing tomorrow and then have the internet. And
let's do that.
yes,
Yes. So speaking about technical problems, our computer just crashed, which means that I'm free to say that you have an early break, and then we will not break in, and then we will start tomorrow morning again with this presentation about film editing and information material. So I'll leave you with a little cliffhanger since we not make it work though.
Yes, but in 5 minutes. So what we think it's we start tomorrow with the video.
Yeah. All right.
So you didn't have anything to say about after the video, no?
well, that also needs the internet of what else on the computer. So
Okay.
All right, so that's a nice end of training. So just I give a small word about the program. You want?
Yes. I just wanted to ask, are there any questions from you about the way that the questions and the information material for the citizens have been produced? If you have any questions about this, maybe we should take it now, so it's not something mystical.
All right, so do you have any question about what we've seen until now? Yes? She has always a question.
Non, parce que c'est moins intelligente, donc je comprends. Je comprends pas très fort.
You're less intelligent, that's why I've got all these questions.
Alors, les questions que vont nous envoyer pour qu'on traduise et qu'on renvoie, ce sont les questions du jour J.
The questions that they're going to send to us, and then we will have to translate them and send it back to them, are the questions of the 6th of June.
It's first question. Et deuxième, vous avez parlé tout à l'heure des questions thématiques donc internationales et la question nationale. Pour qu'on puisse la préparer, ou bien on prépare plusieurs pour voir si elles n'ont pas été prises en considération, ou on la prépare à l'avance en sachant que voilà, il y aura ces questions-là, et l'autre question nous, locale, n'a pas été traitée, donc on va la rédiger. Comment on va la préparer en fait?
And the other question is about the national session, but we didn't speak about it yet, and Tiffany's going to answer.
Okay, so a quick word about the 6th session. This session, you have two options. Or you follow the worldwide use method. So that means that regarding your local or national objective, you prepare a small video, then you leave the citizen thinking about the topic for 45 minutes, and then you give them a vote. So or you follow this worldwide use method, or you can also have like open questions. For example, so you always have to give them information at the beginning because we don't want them to express themselves without any knowledges. So give them an introduction of the topic and then ask them open questions. Like for example, what would be your recommendation to your national authority to operate for the climate change, So it could be open questions. What we would ask you is to send us a proposal of how you will drive this 6th session. So if you want to, just let us know and send us a proposition of like which scenario you think, how you will organize the 6th session, and we will work on that together. So to answer really well your question is the 5 international thematic questions, you would not introduce local questions in this. So you keep all the local and national questions for this 6th session. Okay? And your first question was?
Les questions qui vont nous être envoyées et renvoyées, ce sont les questions du jour J.
Yes. So if the questions that you will receive on the 8th of May, it would be the question that you will use on the Worldwide Use Day? Yes. Okay? So just because sometimes it could be frustrating that we didn't ask your opinion about those questions. When you will discover them, maybe you will say, I would have choose something else. Please apologize, as 90 partners, everyone has an idea of what should be the questions, and we tried our best to make way and returns in order to really get the best questions that we could. So we hope that you will find them interesting and relevant. But at a certain point, we had to close also the feedbacks from the partners. So we gave our best to have all the feedbacks we could, but it was a bit before. So please apologize for that. Right, so we will start our day tomorrow with this man, which is good. So really, thank you for your attention. You've been a great group, and it's really encouraging because it was a good first day. Tomorrow we will work on dissemination, which is really also important because at the moment you are completely focused on the recruitment strategy, but you will see tomorrow that the dissemination is also really strongly related to the project. But it will also give you arguments how to interest people, citizens, media, blah, blah, blah. Because you will see also as the global dissemination what we will do. So it's a good exchange. Thank you very much. So we start tomorrow morning at
9:30.
we start so between 9 to 9:30. You are all invited to share coffee, but we will officially start with at 9:30. Okay. Thank you very much, and have a nice evening. Do you want a word from Björn? Yes!
Well, thank you everyone, and see you tomorrow morning. If you think of any questions during the evening, we can also pick them up tomorrow morning. Any of the information that you've been given today, if you remember any questions, please ask them tomorrow. Yeah.
Thank you everyone. Bye bye.
Oui.